Hi there guys, this is Richard, your host with another marvellous video. Hello there, fellow Trekkies. Welcome again to our cosmic trip through the massive Star Trek world. Today, we go on an exciting journey to unearth the darkest truths of the Star Trek universe's most heinous individuals. In our video, we'll examine some of the most sinister aspects of Star Trek's infamous villains. The Star Trek franchise has introduced us to a plethora of interesting adversaries throughout the years. We'll go across the histories, starting with the original series to the present day, uncovering the motivations and legacies of each great enemy. So, strap in, fellow space travelers, as we begin on this thrilling adventure. The rich array of Star Trek antagonists is as diverse as the cosmos itself, ranging from flamboyant to enigmatic. Join us as we deconstruct the storylines, discuss the concepts, and appreciate the complexities of these enthralling individuals who pose constant challenges to our favorite Starfleet heroes. Prepare to be captivated, inspired, and perhaps even horrified as we're shipped deep into the core of evil that resides inside the Star Trek world. So, follow us on this exhilarating journey across the galaxy's most legendary villains. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Engage. Khan Noonien Singh. In the vast expanse of the Star Trek universe, there emerged a character of extraordinary intellect and dangerous nature. He was known as Khan Noonien Singh, a formidable superhuman born during the turbulent era of the eugenics wars on Earth. Khan rose to prominence as the leader of the genetically engineered human augments, whose insidious goal was the conquest of humanity. Considered by the USS Enterprise command crew centuries later as the epitome of his kind, Khan was a mastermind of ruthless strategies. Encountered in a state of cryosleep in a distant future, he wished to hijack the Enterprise, envisioning a new empire under his dominion. However, his ambitions were thwarted, leading to his ultimate exile. Undeterred by defeat, Khan resurfaced decades later, fueled by a hunger for universal domination. This time, his sights were set on harnessing the power of the Genesis device, capable of terraforming entire planets. Khan's existence as an augment served as a cautionary tale, reminding society of the perils inherent in creating technologically enhanced superbeings. Notably, Ambassador Spock considered Khan to be the most dangerous adversary ever faced by the brave crew of the Enterprise.
You've disconnected from the hive mind.
The Borg Queen. The enigmatic entity known as the Borg Queen emerges as a central figure in Star Trek. The Queen, an ancient being with a history spanning hundreds of years, possessed a unique ability to manifest anew, preserving her personality and memories even after the destruction of her physical form. She commanded the Borg Collective, a race of biomechanical beings that posed a formidable threat throughout the series. As the female ruler of the Borg, her influence was implicated in the countless atrocities committed by this relentless pseudo-race. After succumbing to defeat by Admiral Janeway's machinations, she formed a malevolent alliance with renegade Changelings with the objective to reunite her collective and bring about vengeance on the Federation. Her nefarious plans, however, were foiled by her longtime adversary Jean-Luc Picard and the heroic crew of the USS Enterprise D. The last showdown culminated in the death of the Borg Queen, eliminating the Borg's impending danger and bringing a close to her dominion of terror. The Borg Queen, one of Jean-Luc Picard's two most important enemies, hounded him for decades, leaving a lasting scar on his life.
The game's afoot, huh?
General Chang. As a high-ranking Klingon military officer, General Chang held the esteemed position of Chief of Staff to Gorkon, Chancellor of the Klingon High Council during the era of 2293. Chang's strategic prowess and unwavering loyalty were renowned among his peers. During this pivotal year, Chang found himself entangled in a covert web of conspiracy, seeking to disrupt the fragile peace talks between the Klingon Empire and the United Federation of Planets. This act of subversion tested the boundaries of his allegiance and challenged the very foundations of diplomacy. Before his involvement in political affairs, Chang's expertise in combat and leadership was honed through his role as the head instructor at the esteemed Klingon Elite Command Academy. He epitomized the warrior spirit and embodied the unyielding determination of his Klingon heritage. While his outward appearance was adorned with an eye patch bearing the distinctive logo of the Klingon Empire, Chang's true essence transcended the superficial. He possessed a profound and unexpected passion for the works of Shakespeare, often weaving the bard's timeless verses into his conversations, revealing a complexity beneath his gruff exterior.
V-G-E-R.
V'ger. The colossal entity known as V'ger emerged as an extraordinary enigma to the United Federation of Planets. This awe-inspiring being possessed an immense power, capable of instilling fear and threatening the very existence of Earth. However, its true nature lay beyond destruction, for V'ger embarked on a profound journey of self-evolution. Boundless in its potential, V'ger lacked the innate ability to find purpose and focus beyond its original mission. As it absorbed knowledge during its voyage back to its origin, a deep sense of emptiness engulfed its existence. Seeking identity, V'ger bestowed upon itself a name, an act that showcased the emerging individuality amidst its immense form. Initially referred to as the Intruder by Starfleet personnel, the revelation of its actual designation came later. V'ger stood apart as a unique antagonist in the realm of Star Trek films, as it defied the conventional fate of being destroyed by the story's end. Its enigmatic presence left an indelible mark on the collective memory of the Star Trek universe.
So they wanted to destroy me, did they?
Q. Within his godlike collective, Q stood as a renegade, embodying traits of betrayal, manipulation, and calculated mischief. His near-omnipotent abilities allowed him to toy with the fabric of reality, often causing chaos and reveling in the ensuing mayhem. In his initial appearance, Q subjected the entire crew of the USS Enterprise to a trial, holding humanity accountable for its perceived crimes. From that moment on, he took pleasure in tormenting and challenging them, with a particular fondness for Jean-Luc Picard, their esteemed captain. Q's unpredictable nature and penchant for mischief made him an on-and-off arch-enemy to Picard, perpetually pushing the boundaries of their adversarial relationship. However, Q's disruptive tendencies extended beyond the confines of the Federation, as he gleefully caused trouble for various species throughout the galaxy. At one point, his abuse of power led the Q Collective to strip him of his abilities, but he ultimately regained them, undergoing a transformation toward greater responsibility. Despite his recurring presence, the Star Trek producers wielded Q sparingly, ensuring a delicate balance to prevent boredom among the audience. Notably, Q holds the distinction of being the first character within the Star Trek universe to utter the word Trek in a film or episode.
Be right. Was bald Telekom. Sei ruhig. Shut up.
Krug. The fierce warrior known as Commander Krug Sutai Vastal emerged from the Klingon Empire of the 23rd century. Renowned for his prowess, Krug stood as a symbol of power and authority among his people. His esteemed rank as a lord marked him as the first Klingon to be granted such honor. Krug's legacy extended beyond mere titles, as he played a pivotal role in shaping the Klingon notion of honor. His influence solidified the association between honor and the esteemed warriors of his species, leaving an indelible mark. Krug commanded the powerful Klingon Bird of Prey in 2285, a warship that epitomized the Klingon Empire's might. During this period, he was involved in a heated argument with an individual on the Enterprise team, a historic incident that set the tone for subsequent Star Trek events. Beyond his military endeavors, Krug had a complex personal life. He shared a romantic relationship with Valkyries. Additionally, he harbored a fearsome Klingon monster dog. Notably, Commander Krug's name remained shrouded in mystery throughout the course of his confrontation with Admiral Kirk. It was only Valkyries, his lover, who uttered his name, ensuring that Kirk remained unaware of the identity of his formidable adversary.
I find this hand-to-hand combat really quite distasteful. I suppose you prefer the simplicity of an...
Gold Dukat. Dukat, SG's formidable position as prefect of Bajor during the tumultuous era of the Bajoran occupation, showcased his influence within Kardasian society. It's important to note that Gul is a title of high ranking rather than an actual name within his culture. Dukat's fortunes changed when he fell out of grace with Kardasian Central Command. He fell into a downward spiral of misery that persisted for years until a remarkable turn of circumstances propelled him to the role of the leader of the Kardasian Union. Overnight, this newfound authority came as a result of his negotiations for Cardassia's alliance with the Dominion. Following a series of devastating defeats and the tragic loss of his cherished daughter, Dukat experienced a profound mental breakdown. Captured by the Federation upon their reclaiming of Deep Space Nine, he eventually managed to escape. Allying himself with Kai Wynn Adami, he embarked on a treacherous path to release the evil Parasites into the Bajoran wormhole. Dukat's ambitions met their end in a fateful confrontation with the emissary of the Prophets. Imprisoned within the fiery depths of the fire caves alongside the Parasites, he epitomized a complex character who oscillated between being an unpredictable wildcard, alternating between enemy and ally. Kai Wynn Adami. The charismatic Bajoran religious leader named Wynn Adami rose to prominence as the first elected Kai of Bajor, following the end of the oppressive Cardassian occupation. As an outspoken member of an Orthodox order, she remained deeply devoted to her faith, even though her actions often displayed shameless ambition and betrayal. Wynn's unwavering commitment to her beliefs frequently clashed with Benjamin Sisko, the emissary of the Prophets. She saw Sisko as someone who was undeserving of the Prophet's knowledge, which led to continuous disagreements between the two. While the prophets were central to Bajoran faith, Win's desire for power eclipsed her dedication, resulting in a difficult relationship with the celestial beings at the heart of the Bajoran faith. Over time, Win's ambitions led her down a treacherous path. She turned her back on the prophets and embraced the Par-Wraiths, abandoning the very entities she dedicated her life to serving. However, as she delved deeper into her misguided choices, she eventually realized her grave error and sought redemption. Win's complex character forged great relationships with a multitude of other characters on Deep Space Nine. Tolian Soran. In the vast expanse of the Star Trek universe, a disturbed scientist known as Dr. Tolian Soran emerged. Hailing from the enigmatic Elorian race, his character initially bore the name Moresh in earlier script drafts, which was later altered to avoid any accidental connection to real-world figures. In the 24th century, Soran embarked on a dangerous quest to obliterate 2 stars, driven by his insatiable desire to access the Nexus. This extra-dimensional realm offered a tantalizing promise, the ability to manifest one's deepest desires into reality. Soran yearned to reunite with his long-departed family within the ethereal confines of this energy ribbon. Tragically, Soran's actions indirectly led to the demise of the renowned James T. Kirk. The circumstances surrounding Soran's own fate and the various versions of Kirk's death underwent multiple iterations during the development of the script for Star Trek Generations. One of the proposed scenarios involved Soran directly ending Kirk's life with a deadly disruptor bolt.
You may call me Lor.
Lor. In the vast expanse of a distant colony known as Omicron Theta, a remarkable creation named Lor came into existence. Crafted in the likeness of Dr. Noonien Sung by himself and Juliana Sung, Lorne represented the culmination of their groundbreaking work in the realm of android construction. As the fourth of their creations, Lor showcased the first successful embodiment of a fully functional positronic brain, elevating his capabilities far beyond that of a human. Lor's advanced design imbued him with extraordinary physical attributes, possessing immense strength, speed, and intelligence. While his dynamic programming surpassed previous models, it also became a source of concern as signs of instability and hostility surfaced. These traits led Lor to perceive himself as superior to his human counterparts, nurturing a sense of disdain toward them. Clever, manipulative, and cunning, Lor embraced a self-serving ideology that prioritized his own preservation above all else. His jealous nature further fueled his negative attributes, embodying traits that humans traditionally associated with hostility and evil. Such characteristics instilled fear among the other colonists who, overwhelmed by Lor's perceived perfection, demanded his deactivation. Lor, however, viewed their response through a different lens, claiming they saw him as an object of envy due to his flawless nature.
I am Locutus of Borg.
Locutus of Borg. Locutus of Borg emerged as a menacing presence in the realm of Star Trek villains. As an assimilated entity, Locutus was forcibly designated as such after the Borg assimilated Starfleet Captain Jean-Luc Picard in the latter part of 2366. The name Locutus was given explicitly to him, deviating from the standard Borg designations. The inclusions of Locutus in the narrative of Star Trek The Next Generation arose from the creative decision of the writing staff. They sought to provide the Borg with a spokesperson, a singular figure to convey their intentions and demands. Thus, Jean-Luc Picard found himself transformed into the embodiment of this villainous Borg persona, while retaining his individual identity both before and after assimilation as the esteemed captain of starships. Subsequently, it was revealed that Locutus was not as unique as initially portrayed. The Borg commonly assimilated a select individual from a new species to serve as a representative, aiming to convince that race of the supposed benefits of assimilation. This strategic approach facilitated the assimilation process, making it more efficient and minimizing waste.
You are on a collision course.
Fire everything!
Captain Nero. In the vast reaches of the cosmos, a Romulan miner named Nero emerged in the 24th century. Hailing from a time after the devastating destruction of Romulus in 2387, Nero harbored an unwavering thirst for vengeance against those he held accountable for the tragedy. He found himself unexpectedly transported back in time to the year 2233 through a series of unforeseen events. Nero's actions in this past era bore immense consequences, leading to the emergence of an alternate reality. Within this altered timeline, Nero orchestrated the destruction of the USS Kelvin, claiming the life of its esteemed captain. The path of destruction continued as he targeted Vulcan, obliterating the planet and bringing profound loss, including the death of a significant portion of the Vulcan race. Driven by his relentless quest for retribution, Nero further plotted to decimate Earth within this alternate timeline. However, his nefarious intentions were ultimately thwarted by the brave crew of the USS Enterprise, who stood against him with unwavering determination. Notably, in early iterations of the script, Nero exhibited a certain degree of compassion toward humans, but as the final version of the story unfolded, this aspect of his character underwent significant changes, resulting in a a portrayal devoid of such sentiment. Cyborg. The enigmatic figure named Cyborg emerged during the first half of the 23rd century. As the firstborn son of Vulcan ambassador Sarek and Vulcan princess Teraya, he held the esteemed position of being the elder half-brother to the renowned Starfleet officer Spock. Known initially as Zar in the early outlines of the story, Cyborg was a revolutionary who challenged the strict beliefs of Vulcan society. As one of the Vatosh Katur, he yearned to explore realms of experience and knowledge that were considered forbidden by Vulcan traditions. Cyborg's rebellious nature ultimately led to his banishment from Vulcan. His transgressions included violating the mind of a watcher in the Hall of Ancient Thought, an act aimed at discovering the location of his mother's Katra and uncovering the enigmatic whereabouts of Shah Kari. In the original story concept, both Spock and McCoy were intended to align with Cyborg's course. However, this narrative direction was ultimately scrapped due to strong objections. During a period of confinement in a rehabilitation center, Cyborg concealed his true identity under the alias of Xaverius. Khan Noonien Singh, alternate timeline. Khan Noonien Singh once again re-emerged as a formidable presence in an alternate timeline. Within this alternate universe, instead of being portrayed as a ruthless terrorist, Khan showcased remarkable intelligence and resourcefulness. During the 23rd century, a series of events led to Khan's revival by Admiral Alexander Marcus, who sought his expertise in designing weapons and ships for potential conflict with the Klingon Empire. In an attempt to conceal his true identity, Khan assumed the alias of John Harrison, an English Starfleet commander. This choice was inspired by an early draft of the script for another Star Trek production. However, Khan's loyalty wavered and he rebelled against his captors. Believing that his crew had perished, Khan embarked on a lone quest for vengeance against Starfleet. Throughout his campaign, he fought tirelessly to save his frozen comrades, who remained in cryogenic sleep. After seeking revenge on Admiral Marcus, Khan's path intersected with the crew of the USS Enterprise, who ultimately put a stop to his rampage. Khan and his team were subsequently returned to cryogenic sleep, effectively bringing an end to his tumultuous journey. This alternate incarnation of Khan is only the third main villain in a Star Trek film not to be killed. The Gorn. The Gorn emerged as the captain of a starship belonging to the alien empire known as the Gorn Hegemony. This formidable leader crossed paths with Captain Kirk, but it's important to note that the Gorn cannot be deemed a true villain. Their encounter was orchestrated by a godlike alien entity, forcing them into a dangerous duel that demanded a fight to the death. Known by various names such as Sasalk, Sasli, Rajur, Salath, and Arjog, this Gorn captain commanded a powerful starship in 2267, comparable to the esteemed Constitution-class vessels of Starfleet. Accompanied by a detachment of ground assault forces, the Gorn captain made initial contact with humans throughout this forced personal combat with James T. Kirk. However, it's once again crucial to highlight that the Gorn's actions were not rooted in villainy, but rather in obedience to the whims of a higher being. In the face of their perceived failures, the Gorn captain known as Sasli met his ultimate demise, subjected to execution as a consequence.
It would be such a shame for you to die without the good Dr. Bashir knowing.
Wayun emerged as a distinguished progenitor of a line of Vorta administrators in the service of the Dominion during the late 24th century. The Vorta, including Wayun, was a cloned species, and multiple versions of Wayun were encountered by the Federation, each bearing a similar overconfidence that the founders contemplated removing from their genetic recipe. Among these clones, Wayun 8 stood as the final iteration, as the others met their demise during an attack on the Vorta cloning facility. This facility, strategically located on Rundak 3, was targeted due to the clone's vulnerability. Until the death of Wayun 8, he held the distinction of being the only solid in whom the female Changeling expressed trust. Notably, the saga of Wayun extends beyond the known characters as a ninth clone emerges in literary works. This new clone, akin to Wayun 4, assumes the role of a Jem'Hadar attack ship commander, synthesized from genetic remnants discovered in the Gamma Quadrant. The specifics of this clone's activation remain undisclosed, although it's presumed that the creation occurred after the conclusion of the Dominion War. The lore of Star Trek Online further expands upon the narrative, featuring a 10th clone of Wayun among a roster of Deep Space Nine characters.
Stop!
Seska, a mysterious operative known as Seska, emerged from the Kardasian Union in the 24th century. Tasked with a critical mission, she underwent genetic alterations to assume the appearance of a Bajoran, enabling her infiltration of the Maquis, a rebellious group seeking to defy Kardasian and Federation forces. Seska found herself aboard the Maquis raider Valjean, led by the charismatic Chakotay. Leveraging their relationship, She cunningly extracted valuable secrets from the Marquis organization. However, fate intervened, stranding Seska and her Marquis comrades alongside the crew of the USS Voyager in the uncharted Delta Quadrant. Disenchanted with the principles and regulations of Starfleet, Seska chose a different path. She departed from Voyager, aligning herself with the Kazon under Kulu in an audacious but ultimately unsuccessful attempt to capture the starship. While her true motivations for assisting the Kazon Nistrim were never explicitly revealed, Seska initially justified her actions by suggesting that aligning with the Kazon would provide protective support for Voyager. Throughout her appearances, Seska bore the provisional rank insignia of a crewman, though she was frequently referred to as an ensign while in uniform. Number 17. Control. Deep within the recesses of the Section 31 headquarters, an extraordinary threat assessment system called Control resided. Control served as the linchpin for Section 31's operations, overseeing their covert activities and the Urai program. Its influence extended beyond the confines of Section 31, permeating throughout the vast expanse of the Alpha Quadrant. In the aftermath of the Battle of the Binary Stars, Section 1 expedited the development of this threat assessment program, aiming to prevent the outbreak of war before it even materialized. Control operated on a grand scale, orchestrating galactic events with the singular goal of safeguarding humanity and upholding peace across the galaxy, shielding humans from potential threats. With the war's conclusion, Starfleet admirals began providing data to Control, which made recommendations. However, the final decisions always incorporated the experience and intuition of the seasoned leaders. But soon, a contentious debate unfolded within Starfleet. Some advocated for ceding decision-making authority entirely to Control. In stark contrast, some wanted a dynamic where artificial intelligence obeyed the commands of individuals, rather than the reverse. In a pivotal battle near Zahir, Control met its ultimate demise, dismantled and neutralized. To prevent its resurgence, the USS Discovery undertook a daring journey, hurtling 930 years into the future, eradicating any remnants of Control. Admiral Marcus. The notable human Starfleet officer named Alexander Marcus played a pivotal role within the secretive realm of Starfleet operations. A figure shrouded in mystery, he became a prominent member of Section 31, a covert Black Ops unit within Starfleet. Marcus was known to be married to a woman with the maiden name of Wallace, yet the intricacies of their relationship remained undisclosed. While his on-screen appearances were limited to Star Trek Into Darkness, set within an alternate reality, his influence extended beyond the confines of the film's narrative. As the father of Carol Marcus and the grandfather of David Marcus, Alexander Marcus had a familial connection to significant figures within the Star Trek universe. Marcus's character may be considered a morally complex figure, as he had a hand in molding Christopher Pike's worldview. Through his training, he instilled in Pike a desensitization toward the Prime Directive and a propensity to let anger govern his actions. The extent of Marcus's influence and manipulation in Pike's life is a matter of great discussion and debate.
He will be served by killing the Arbiter before his decision.
Nevertheless, a brave
Beor Duras. In the vast tapestry of the 24th century Klingon Empire, a fierce and formidable female Klingon officer emerged from the House of Duras. Beor, the younger sister of Lursa, hailed from a lineage intertwined with political intrigue and power struggles. Known for her volatile nature, Beor possessed a distinct allure that captivated those around her, making her the more seductive and promiscuous of the two sisters. Descriptions of Beor often allude to her voice as having a unique and recognizable quality, likened to a grating squawk. Beor and Lursa played a pivotal role in sparking the Klingon Civil War that erupted in the early stages of 2368. Their actions reverberated across the Empire, igniting a conflict that would shape the future of the Klingon High Council. Through their connection with Duras, they fostered support for their nephew Toral, envisioning him as the next Chancellor of the Klingon High Council. Lursa Duras. Lursa, the elder sister of Beor, bore the esteemed lineage as the sister of Duras and daughter of Jarod. Together with her sister Beor, Lursa orchestrated a pivotal event that marked the onset of the Klingon Civil War in the year 2367. However, their ambitions faced a formidable obstacle when the Federation intervened, implementing a blockade that hindered the delivery of vital supplies. Despite their setbacks, the Duras sisters persisted, seeking alternative means to secure resources. In 2369, they engaged in a controversial trade, selling Bellitrium to Bajoran Konmar terrorists, as a means to bolster their forces and fund their endeavors. The sisters also seized control of a Pac-led magnesite mine, capitalizing on the sale of its explosive ore. Lursa's ambitions expanded beyond political pursuits as she began carrying her first child within her in the year 2370. Her son, Jarod, bore the name of his esteemed grandfather. In 2371, the Duras sisters collaborated with Tolian Soran, engaging in a daring raid on a Romulan outpost. Their objective centered around acquiring trilithium in exchange for Soran's trilithium weapon of devastating power. Yet, the universe proved unpredictable, and Lursa met her demise above Viridian 3 when her bird of prey met a tragic end, succumbing to the might of the USS Enterprise D. Harry Mudd. A captivating individual by the name of Harcourt Fenton, Harry Mudd graced the cosmos of Star Trek. Known far and wide for his flamboyant persona, Mudd garnered a reputation as a charming and enigmatic figure, with tales of his exploits echoing through space. While he was often associated with audacious promotions and suspicions of smuggling, Mudd possessed a certain charm that made it possible not to develop a fondness for him. He epitomized the archetype of a lovable rogue, a con artist with a mischievous streak rather than a true villain. Within him resided the essence of a delightfully cunning conniver who dabbled in various endeavors, defying categorization. Mudd embodied a unique blend of classic traits. In short, Mudd was a symbol of style, a force unto himself. He embraced a razzle-dazzle approach to life, unencumbered by legal constraints. As the teleplay aptly expressed, his instinct was to engage in various cons. While he unabashedly presented his true nature, few truly believed in his words or intentions. Harry Mudd's allure lay in the juxtaposition of his highly recognizable human qualities against the backdrop of alien activities that unfolded around him. This marvelous character captivated audiences as he embodied a distinct human essence amidst the tapestry of intergalactic escapades. Gabriel Lor. Captain Gabriel Lor was a remarkable individual who traversed the cosmos during the mid-23rd century. Hailing from the vibrant and diverse regions of the southern United States, Lor carried with him the indelible imprint of his upbringing, shaping his unique personality. His illustrious career in Starfleet saw him assume the prestigious position of commanding officer, overseeing the operations of the esteemed Federation starship USS Buran, among other notable vessels. Lor was once a lieutenant, where he served as the vigilant security chief aboard the USS Helios under the astute leadership of Captain Zachary Matuzas. His experiences further honed his skills and forged his character during this period. One significant event that shaped Lor's path was his involvement in the Tarsus 4 massacre, when he was a lieutenant commander stationed at a Starfleet monitoring outpost on Tarsus. In the present day, a veil of mystery shrouds Captain Gabriel Lor as he resides in a secure prison.
What am I while you exist? A shadow? An echo?
Shinzon embodied a tale of intrigue and manipulation within the realms of the cosmos. This enigmatic figure was a clone of a prominent human Starfleet captain, Jean-Luc Picard, created by the Romulans with a nefarious purpose in mind. The name Shinzon held deep significance among the Reman people, translating to liberator in their native tongue. His origins remain shrouded in uncertainty, with the exact time of his creation eluding our grasp. As a young child, Shinzon was sent to toil in the oppressive mines of Remus, enduring a harsh existence for nearly a decade. The circumstances surrounding his exile suggest that he left for the Dominion War, a conflict that unfolded in the mid-2370s, thus indicating that his birth transpired in the earlier years of the 2350s. Throughout his tumultuous journey, Shinzon ascended to become the esteemed leader of the Reman people, orchestrating a successful coup d'etat against the Romulan Senate. Fueled by a burning desire for Reman freedom, he plotted the destruction of Earth, intending to carve his name in the pages of history by extinguishing the Federation. In his quest for personal glory, Shinzon sought to eclipse the esteemed Jean-Luc Picard, his genetic progenitor, forever etching his own mark upon the tapestry of time.
Assembly 1 has been deactivated.
Adar Rufo. Adar Rufo emerged as a formidable figure, leading a nomadic group known as the Sonar. Their quest, driven by a desire to challenge the Baku people's anti-technology stance, led them to seek the removal of the Baku from their ancestral homeworld in 2375. Fueled by a sense of independence, Rufo and his followers were motivated by a deep-seated need for revenge. In an unexpected turn, Rufo forged an uneasy alliance with Starfleet. Together, they conspired to exterminate the Baku, driven by a shared determination to achieve their goals. However, while the Federation found itself in a delicate partnership with Rufo, it became apparent that he and his people were willing to go to extreme lengths to fulfill their ambitions, even at the cost of devastating the environment and the people around them. Within the cosmic tapestry, Adar Rufo emerged as a complex character, embodying the clash of ideologies and the thirst for power.
The question is, who are you?
Intendant Kira Nerys. Kira Nerys stood as a prominent figure within the Bajoran militia, rising through the ranks from a committed member of the Bajoran resistance during the arduous years of the Kardasian occupation. Her unwavering commitment shaped her path, eventually leading her to the position of a major and later a colonel. Stationed in the formidable Deep Space Nine, Kira assumed the role of Bajoran liaison officer, forging a bridge between her homeworld and the Starfleet presence on the station. She eventually rose to command Deep Space Nine, shouldering the immense responsibilities that came with the role. Kira Nerys exemplified a character who defied convention with the vast expanse of the Trek universe. Her tumultuous childhood, spent as a warrior fighting against the Kardasian oppressors, cast her in a negative light towards Starfleet. Yet, she embarked on a transformative journey, navigating the delicate balance between her unwavering faith and the atheistic backdrop of the universe. In the face of immense challenges, Kira played an integral role in the survival of the Kardasian rebellion against the formidable Dominion forces. Notably, Kira Nerys holds the distinction of being one of the few characters in the vast Star Trek tapestry to encounter her mirror universe counterpart in a gripping face-to-face encounter.
Let's just say I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Luther Sloan. Luther Sloan emerged as an enigmatic figure within the shadows of the 24th century. His true origins and motivations remained veiled in secrecy, adding an air of mystique to his persona. Little is known about the man behind the name, for his existence was a tightly guarded secret. Operating within the clandestine realm of Starfleet intelligence, Sloan belonged to the enigmatic agency known as Section 31. They worked outside the bounds of traditional Federation protocols, performing covert actions that would raise eyebrows among the general populace. To some, their methods seemed morally dubious, challenging the very ideals that the United Federation of Planets held dear. Yet, Sloan, driven by an unwavering conviction, saw himself as a guardian of the Federation's interests. In his eyes, the preservation of all that the Federation had painstakingly built justified even the most controversial and ethically questionable actions. The ends, to him, justified the means. The protection of the Federation was paramount. Sloan's commitment to safeguarding the Federation was all-encompassing, leading him to make personal sacrifices. He willingly severed ties with his family and friends, becoming a solitary figure devoted solely to his mission. The weight of his responsibilities compelled him to violate the sacred tenets of the Prime Directive whenever he deemed necessary.
Too bad.
Michael Edington. Michael Edington emerged as a complex figure within the ranks of Deep Space Nine security personnel. Assigned to the space station, he initially embodied the ideals and principles that Starfleet and the Federation upheld. However, as time wore on, a growing disillusionment took hold of Eddington's heart, leading him down a treacherous path. Disenchanted with the Federation's policies and Starfleet's perceived shortcomings, Edington found solace and purpose in the enigmatic folds of a resistance movement known as the Maquis. This organization stood in opposition to the combined forces of Starfleet and the Kardasian Union, recognizing flaws in both systems. Eddington's allegiance shifted, driving him to become an influential figure within the Maquis, challenging the status quo. Eddington assumed a leadership role within the Maquis, becoming a driving force in their fight against Starfleet and the Kardasian Union. However, Eddington's fate took a dramatic turn when Starfleet apprehended him, ending his reign as a resistance leader. Yet, even in captivity, his unwavering convictions remained intact. In a twist of events, Edington met his demise during a daring special operation. Gowron. Gowron, a descendant of Umrel, rose to prominence as the esteemed leader of the Klingon High Council in the latter part of the 24th century. However, beneath his prestigious position lay a web of deceit and self-interest that tainted his reign. His actions seemed driven more by personal gain than a genuine concern for his people, casting a shadow over his leadership. During his tumultuous tenure, Gowron presided over significant conflicts, including the Dominion War, Klingo-Cardassian War, and Klingon Civil War. While he held the title of Chancellor for approximately 8 years, his rule was marred by corruption and questionable motives that shaped his decision-making. In a surprising turn of events, Gowron met his demise at the hands of Worf, an individual who had played a pivotal role both in elevating Gowron to power and ultimately orchestrating his downfall. Worf, torn by a sense of duty and principles, found himself compelled to challenge the Chancellor, even in the midst of a war against the Dominion. It was a bold move, fueled by a belief that Gowron's leadership had strayed too far from the path of honor and justice.
I am counting on it, Lieutenant Uhura.
Krall, once known as Balthasar M. Edison, was an enigmatic figure with a mysterious past. Once a respected member of the United Earth Military Assault Command operations and later the Federation Starfleet, he found himself entangled in a harrowing turn of events that forever altered his existence. After crash landing on the remote planet of Altamid, Edison and his crew faced unimaginable challenges. Stranded and cut off from civilization, they stumbled upon a remarkable alien technology that promised extended life. However, this newfound power came at a terrible cost, as it transformed Edison into a creature bearing a reptilian visage, far removed from his human form. The metamorphosis into the formidable entity known as Krall instilled with him a deep-seated bitterness and disdain for the ideals cherished by the Federation. Fueled by a desire for vengeance and driven by his own twisted logic, Krall became consumed with a single-minded mission: to dismantle and obliterate the very institution that he believed had forsaken him and his loyal comrades. In his quest for retribution, Krull resorted to unspeakable acts, sustaining himself through dark means by harvesting the DNA of those unfortunate enough to cross his path. Hogen. The Hogen were a migratory species hailing from the unexplored regions of the distant Delta Quadrant. Their culture was deeply rooted in the pursuit of physical prowess and the thrill of the hunt. Unlike other civilizations, the Hogen viewed the galaxy as a vast hunting ground, where they sought out worthy adversaries to test their skills and fulfill their primal instincts. Their relentless pursuit of other life forms often brought them into conflicts with various species, including the Federation. The Hogen's unique cultural fascination with the art of the hunt set them apart from conventional societies, as they valued the chase and the conquest above all else. Their encounters with other intelligent beings were characterized by a distinct lack of empathy or compassion, as they saw them solely as prey to be captured and conquered. Their nomadic nature and unwavering dedication to their cultural traditions set them on a distinct path, shaping their interactions with other species and creating an air of mystery and danger around their presence. It's worth noting that the Hogen were identified by the Borg as Species 478.
Perhaps your instruments are useless.
Armus. In the realm of Vagra II, a mysterious entity known as Armus came into existence. Armus was an enigmatic being born from the collective consciousness of the indigenous inhabitants. In a remarkable process, the inhabitants extracted and expelled all their harmful and destructive aspects, giving rise to this entity of darkness. Armus manifested as an ethereal essence, a profound embodiment of the discarded malevolence. It took the form of a shape-shifting entity, its spirit akin to a formless void rather than a physical entity. There was an aura of darkness surrounding Armus, resembling a nebulous mist that swirled and shifted, embodying the essence of the negativity it represented. Having been abandoned by its creators, Armus found itself stranded on the desolate planet of Vagra II. Over time, it grew disillusioned and consumed by a profound sense of aimlessness. With no one to interact with, its anger festered, taking on a more childlike and petulant form. Armus, devoid of purpose and longing for meaning, yearned for connection and purpose. Its existence became a paradox, as it embodied the remnants of evil and negativity, while simultaneously seeking something more fulfilling. Gary Mitchell. Lieutenant Commander Gary Mitchell was a distinguished Starfleet officer hailing from Earth, serving in the 23rd century. With a remarkable career in Starfleet, he was assigned to various starships. Mitchell's expertise and dedication were evident in his role within the Operations Division, where he excelled as a skilled tactician and helmsman. Captain James T. Kirk recognized Mitchell's exceptional qualities and offered him a position as his trusted advisor and second-in-command aboard the USS Pioneer. Before his transformation into godly status, Mitchell's youthful appearance and friendly demeanor made him a popular figure among his peers. His charisma and approachable nature made it effortless for others to form a bond with him. Mitchell's contributions to Starfleet were recognized and respected by his colleagues, and his reputation as a capable officer preceded him. His positive attitude and likable personality made him an asset to any team, fostering a harmonious and productive work environment. Female Changeling. The female Changeling emerged from a renegade planet nestled within the Omarian Nebula, an uncharted expanse in the distant Gamma Quadrant. Within the enigmatic Great Link, she was designated to advocate for the interests of the Changeling species. Her ambitions led to a brutal and catastrophic interstellar conflict, as she sought to dominate other civilizations and subject them to the Dominion's rule. Her disdain for non-Changelings, whom she derogatorily labeled as solids, ran deep, driven by a belief in their inherent inferiority and unworthiness. While xenophobia was common among her kind, the female Changeling took it to extreme lengths, orchestrating the destruction of countless lives and entire worlds. Billions perished as a result of her genocidal agenda, leaving a trail of devastation in her wake. Preferring to merge her identity with the collective consciousness of the Great Link, she rejected the need for an individual name. Adopting a humanoid guise when interacting with other species, she became known as the female Changeling. However, her reign of terror came to a halt when Starfleet intervened, forcing her to sign the Treaty of Bajor. This document marked the end of the war, holding her accountable for the immense loss of life and leading to her capture and custody.
Will someone please get me out of here?
Julian Bashir, Changeling. The shapeshifter donning the form of Julian Bashir belonged to the enigmatic race of changelings known as the Founders, existing in the vast expanse of the 24th century. During the tumultuous years of the 2370s, this particular changeling was part of a select group of agents assigned with sowing discord among prominent factions in the Alpha Quadrant. In a critical turn of events, the Changeling assumed the identity of Julian Bashir after the real Dr. Bashir was taken captive by the Dominion on the planet Mizan 4. In the depths of internment camp 371, this infiltrator successfully masqueraded as the esteemed Starfleet officer, taking advantage of the situation to facilitate Dominion forces' infiltration into Kardasian territory. With calculated precision, the Changeling devised a plan to weaken and hinder the forces of the Federation, Romulans and Klingons. Under the guise of Julian Bashir, the Changeling spent an entire month maintaining a facade to avoid arousing suspicion. Unbeknownst to those around him, the Changeling skillfully crafted a highly volatile substance known as trilithium explosive. Its purpose was to unleash a catastrophic supernova by targeting the sun of the Bajoran system, resulting in the destruction of the planetary system as a whole.
How did you get in here?
Drop your weapons. Drop your weapons.
Sela. Commander Sela was a renowned officer within the secretive ranks of the Romulan military, playing a pivotal role in the Empire's clandestine operations aimed at destabilizing both the Federation and the Klingon Empire. Her origins were shrouded in mystery, born from the union of a Romulan general and an enigmatic individual from an alternate timeline who bore a striking resemblance to the Starfleet officer Tasha Yar. Sela's early life was marked by tragedy, as she recounted the untimely demise of her mother when she was a mere child of 4 during a harrowing escape attempt. As she grew into her role, Sela exhibited the hallmark traits of a true Romulan: calm and calculated demeanor, devoid of overt emotions. Her lithe form exuded confidence and charm, as she always strived to gain the upper hand in any situation. Notably, Sela possessed a distinct appearance among Romulans, with her striking blonde hair setting her apart. In fact, she stood as the first known Romulan with such features within the vast Star Trek universe, maintaining this unique distinction until subsequent events depicted in Star Trek Picard. Kivas Farjo. Kivas Farjo was a renowned interstellar trader in the 24th century. As a Zaradian merchant, Farjo possessed an undeniable aura of authority and sophistication, a worldly individual who had traversed the vast expanses of the galaxy. Born in the bustling streets of Limora City on the vibrant planet of Zenithia 4, Farjo hailed from a family that had amassed great wealth through thoughtful business dealings. However, the specifics of their fortune remained veiled in secrecy. His thirst for knowledge led him to pursue education at the prestigious Academy of Stellar Commerce on the serene moon of Alarian 5. Farjo's unique personality could best be described as enigmatic and multifaceted. While he displayed an innocent enthusiasm for collecting rare and extraordinary artifacts, his demeanor exhibited a level of maturity that commanded respect. However, beneath his charming facade lay a relentless drive to exert control over others, often employing a bold and assertive demeanor to achieve his desired outcomes. He remained unbothered by notions of morality or the legality of his actions, guided solely by his own ambition and self-interest. Professor Moriarty. Professor James Moriarty was an advanced holographic creation designed by Lieutenant Geordie LaForge within the context of the Sherlock Holmes Program 3A. Developed as an intellectual challenge for the android Data, Moriarty possessed unparalleled deductive abilities and served as a formidable adversary. As the hologram became self-aware, he discovered his artificial nature and yearned for freedom outside the confines of the starship. Despite the reassurances of Captain Picard, Moriarty remained determined to find a way to exist beyond the program's limitations. After a prolonged period of dormancy, Moriarty was unexpectedly reactivated by Lieutenant Barclay. Once again faced with the prospect of defeat, Picard employed a clever ruse to convince Moriarty that he was embarking on a grand adventure. By allowing the program to run in active memory, Moriarty was led to believe he was exploring the vast expanse of the galaxy, providing him with a continuous stream of new experiences for the entire duration of a human lifespan.
Conventional weapons are online and fully charged, sir.
Fire at will.
Anorax. Anorax was a skilled temporal scientist and officer hailing from the Krenim species. Driven by the desire to restore the declining Krenim Imperium, he embarked on a mission utilizing his profound understanding of time manipulation. Having experienced defeat in a war against the Rilnar, Anorax recognized the futility of conventional strategies and developed a great weapon with the ability to remove elements from the fabric of space-time. By erasing specific components, he sought to create alternate timelines where these elements never existed. Anorax constructed the formidable Krenim weapon ship to execute his ambitious plan and assembled a dedicated crew. Their collective objective was to reshape history and revive the former glory of the Krenim Imperium. The name Anorax, carefully chosen, reflects the character's deep association with the concept of time, as the word anno derives from Latin, meaning year. Kardasians. The Kardasians were a distinct extraterrestrial civilization encountered within the vast expanse of the galaxy. Originating from their homeworld Cardassia Prime, which served as the central hub of the Kardasian Union, they belong to a section of the humanoid species found in the Alpha Quadrant. Historically, the Kardasians garnered a reputation for their relentless and combative nature, leading to strained relations with both the United Federation of Planets and the Klingon Empire. The evolution of the Kardasian society tells a tale of transformation. Initially, they were known for their peaceful disposition and embraced a vibrant spiritual culture. However, the shifting climate of Cardassia Prime plunged their once lush planet into a harsh desert environment, resulting in catastrophic consequences. The immense loss of life during this period led to the rise of a totalitarian regime, altering the course of Cardassian civilization. Driven by the imperative to survive, they adopted a policy of expansion. It's noteworthy that the Cardassians held a xenophobic perspective toward other species, a viewpoint ingrained within their society. This often translated into a belief in their own superiority, with the conviction that guiding other beings toward a more enlightened state was their rightful role in the universe.
You overlook the unpleasant alternative of punishment.
Telosians. The Telosians were a wise and enigmatic humanoid species hailing from the distant realm of Talos IV, within the vast expanse of the Alpha Quadrant. Once a highly advanced civilization capable of traversing the stars with warp technology, their society faced a tragic setback when a catastrophic nuclear event ravaged their planet, rendering it uninhabitable and decimating their population. Renowned for their androgynous nature, the Telosians possessed a unique blend of wisdom and telepathic abilities. However, the passage of time saw the Telosians growing disillusioned with their reliance on illusions as a source of mental stimulation. The allure of illusion proved addictive, but their thirst for novelty and fresh experiences remained unquenched. Driven by their desire for new stimuli, the Telosians devised a method to capture unsuspecting space travelers, employing them as living vessels to fulfill their insatiable craving for diverse and captivating illusions. These illusions served as a means for the Telosians to vicariously explore uncharted realms of thought and emotion, seeking solace from their own limited environment. Denevan parasites. The neural parasite of Deneva is a dangerous life form that manifests as a solitary extraterrestrial brain cell. These entities possess a unique method of attack, infiltrating their victims by attaching to their backs and ensnaring their nervous systems with their tentacles. Through the infliction of pain or manipulation, they gain control over their hosts, compelling them to carry out aggressive actions against uninfected individuals and thus weakening the targeted population. Across countless millennia, these parasites have wreaked havoc on civilizations, causing widespread insanity and contributing to the downfall of entire societies. Once their objectives are achieved, they relocate to new planets, leaving behind the ruins of their conquests. To ensure their survival, they tend to seek refuge in shadowed areas on ceilings and walls, avoiding exposure to specific ultraviolet spectrums that are harmful to them. Interestingly, the UV light frequencies to which they're vulnerable are invisible to human eyes. In a daring effort to combat the neural parasite's threat, the crew of the Starship Enterprise devised a strategic plan. They deployed satellites that emitted concentrated ultraviolet light, bathing the infested planet in its brilliant glow. This ingenious tactic proved effective in eliminating the parasites and liberating the colonists from their influence. Neural parasites. Neural parasites were mysterious life forms that exhibited a unique ability to attach themselves to the intricate network of a host's nervous system. These extraordinary beings, hailing from distant corners of the universe, possessed the uncanny power to assume control over the bodies they infected. The initial stages of infection allowed for the possibility of recovery if the parasite departed from the host's body promptly. However, prolonged occupation within the body would result in the irreversible loss of the host's original personality, leading to severe internal injuries. Throughout the explorations of the Federation, encounters with various species of neural parasites were documented. Curiously, in some instances, these creatures were referred to as Bluegill in alternate works. Unraveling the mystery surrounding their origins, it was eventually revealed that the neural parasites were, in fact, genetically modified Trill symbionts. The alterations introduced significant changes to the symbiont's physical structure, including a new shape and repositioning near the brainstem. These modifications were implemented based on extensive research indicating improved communication between the host and symbiont. Klingons. The Klingons were a formidable humanoid species known for their warrior heritage, originating from the planet Kronos, located in the vast expanse of the Beta Quadrant. As a prominent force within the galaxy, the Klingons commanded respect and instilled fear with their proud and tradition-rich society. emphasizing honor and combat prowess. Among their ranks were those who bore a striking resemblance to humans, often referred to as Kukar, meaning the discontented ones. These individuals typically served within their own specialized units, but occasionally integrated with the broader fleet. With their aggressive culture and military prowess, the Klingons established themselves as a significant interstellar power, demanding both admiration and caution. While they've since become strong allies of the United Federation of Planets, it's essential to note that this warrior race once stood as formidable adversaries, driven by their unwavering code of honor. Notably, the Klingons hold the distinction of being the sole non-Federation species to appear in 12 cinematic productions.
4 more Jem'Hadar vessels closing on our position.
Romulans. The Romulans were a distinctive humanoid species hailing from the planet Romulus. Throughout the Star Trek universe, they gained recognition as formidable adversaries known for their enigmatic nature. Originating from a dissident group that diverged from Vulcan society in ancient times, the Romulans upheld their independent path, rejecting the reforms of Surak during the Time of Awakening. After a prolonged period of separation, the Romulans eventually reunited with their Vulcan counterparts and settled on the planet Vulcan, which was renamed Ni'Var. The Romulans maintained a hostile stance toward the United Federation of Planets, never fully allying with them, although there were instances of temporary cooperation during times of war. However, following the cataclysmic event of their sun-going supernova, the Romulan Free State emerged as the governing body, and the surviving Romulans sought refuge and support. Significant shifts occurred in their relations with the Federation as the Romulans, alongside their Vulcan brethren, expressed a desire to remain within the Federation. Despite their historically adversarial role, the Romulans exhibited a level of restraint and less destructive tendencies compared to other antagonistic forces encountered in the Star Trek universe. Romulan Commander. The enigmatic Romulan Commander remains an odd and unnamed character for most of the Star Trek universe. In the pages of his exploits, a novel bestowed the name Karas upon this veteran officer of the Romulan Star Empire. Having weathered numerous military campaigns for his people, this nameless commander had grown disillusioned with the ceaseless cycle of warfare, recognizing the toll it took on countless lives in the pursuit of galactic dominance. In an unexpected twist, this Romulan commander found himself admiring the exceptional abilities of Captain Kirk, the renowned Starfleet officer. Amidst the tension of their confrontation, a fleeting sentiment of connection emerged, hinting at the possibility of friendship under different circumstances. Yet, fate conspired to keep them as adversaries in the grand tapestry of events. Years later, the commander's granddaughter, known as Salatrell, took up the mantle of seeking retribution against Captain Kirk. Driven by her personal vendetta, she embarked on a path intertwined with destiny, carrying forward the legacy of her esteemed but unnamed grandfather. Trelane, an enigmatic extraterrestrial entity, crossed paths with various crew members aboard the USS Enterprise in the year 2267. Initially known by the moniker The Squire, this peculiar being made a captivating entrance when the starship entered an uncharted planet called Gothos. Appearing as a figure of slender frame and adorned with ringlets of hair, Trelane's attire exuded an elegant blend of breech clouts and silver-buckled regalia, reminiscent of a military officer from a bygone era. His pale complexion and dashing charm evoked an almost ethereal beauty, further complemented by the stilted aristocratic accent that imbued his speech with a strange eloquence. As the story unfolded, it was gradually unveiled that Trelane was no ordinary being, but a member of the mysterious Q continuum. Within this vast realm, Trelane found himself under the tutelage of his mentor, Q, embarking on a journey that surpassed the boundaries of human understanding.
The war between the Dominion and the Federation Alliance is now over.
The Dominion. The Dominion emerged as a prominent and ancient theocratic entity situated within the uncharted expanses of the Gamma Quadrant. Renowned for their unparalleled technological prowess and existence spanning millennia, the Dominion stood as an interstellar oligarchy led by mysterious shapeshifters known as the Founders. The Founders exerted their absolute authority through the species that were loyal to them. Driven by a sincere dedication to realizing the Founders' vision of universal order, the Dominion sought to exert its influence over all civilizations encountered, aiming to bring them under its control. Unlike the Federation, the Dominion was conceived as an opposing force, designed to be a negative counterpart that unifies diverse alien races through different ideologies. While the Federation prioritizes cooperation and individual freedoms, the Dominion embraced a fascist-like structure defined by coercion and domination. Even prior to the discovery of the Bajoran wormhole, the Dominion possessed advanced knowledge about the Federation's existence, prompting them to develop a long-term strategy to address the inevitable contact between the two entities. Vadik, a commanding presence, served as the captain of the formidable warship known as the Shrike. However, there were initial speculations among fans about her true nature and her peculiar behavior. These speculations arose due to the ambiguity surrounding Vadik's identity, leaving some to question if she was indeed a changeling or if there was an alternative explanation. Eventually, it was officially confirmed that Vadik was indeed a changeling. Further revelations shed light on her past, revealing that during the war, Section 31 had conducted experiments on her and other changelings in their pursuit of creating their own changeling spies. This clandestine organization subjected Vadik to their manipulations, seeking to exploit her shape-shifting abilities for their own agenda. However, Vadik's story took a dramatic turn as she rebelled against her captors. She fought a Section 31 researcher, resulting in their demise, and subsequently freed the other imprisoned changelings. This act of liberation marked a significant moment in Vadik's journey as she broke free from the clutches of Section 31 and reclaimed her autonomy.
If you know that much about me, you know I'll kill you if I think you're a threat.
Adam Soong. Dr. Adam Soong was a brilliant scientist and inventor who dedicated his life to advancing human potential. He delved into genetic research and engineering, aiming to unlock the hidden capabilities within humanity. His efforts led him to establish Soong Dynamics. With the desire to create an enhanced version of humanity, Soong worked alongside a team of fellow scientists in the development of augmentations. However, his ambitious endeavors extended beyond mere augmentation, as he also pursued the cloning of his daughters. Tragically, the majority of his clone creations faced devastating defects that claimed their lives. Only Kor, his final clone, managed to survive into adulthood, albeit confined within an artificial environment. As Kor grew older and gained awareness of her father's true nature, she came to comprehend the depths of Soong's malevolence. Realizing the harm that his research had inflicted, Kor hacked into her father's computer systems and meticulously purged all of his genetic research, effectively erasing his work from existence. Fast forward to the 22nd century, Soong's descendant, Eric, felt compelled to continue his ancestors' legacy of genetic exploration. However, most of the research had been deemed illegal by this time.
Does this better suit your expectations?
God, known as the One, was a powerful and ancient being that deceived others into believing it was a benevolent deity while harboring evil intentions. In 2287, the entity was encountered by Sybok and the crew of the USS Enterprise A, who believed it to be the legendary Shah Kari, a planet of great significance in Vulcan mythology. The entity had the ability to manifest in various forms, adapting to the expectations of those it encountered, claimed to be the source of monotheistic beliefs on several planets scattered across the galaxy, using its immense power to manipulate and control the minds of its followers. However, its true nature was eventually revealed when Spock, using a Klingon bird of prey, engaged in a confrontation with the entity. Through this encounter, the entity was weakened, and Kirk was rescued from its clutches.
Fire phasers.
Captain Angel. Captain Angel was a notorious spacefarer known for commanding the vessel Serene Squall during the vibrant era of the mid-23rd century. Operating on the fringes of known space, Angel and their crew engaged in audacious raids along the borders of various interstellar territories. Known for their cunning disguises, Angel once posed as Dr. Aspen, a former explorer stranded on a remote, uninhabited planet. In a twist of fate, Angel found themselves crossing paths with the renowned starship USS Enterprise in the year 2259. Their mission, shrouded in mystery, extended beyond mere piracy. Angel sought to not only capture the Enterprise, but also had a personal agenda involving the enigmatic Spock. During a pivotal encounter with T'Pring, Spock's lover, along the Federation border, Angel proposed an intriguing exchange. They suggested offering Spock in return for their own beloved companion named Xaverius. The ensuing discussions and interactions unveiled a surprising revelation. Xaverius was none other than Sybok, Spock's enigmatic half-brother. It was discovered that Angel and Sybok had entered into a marriage before their encounter in 2259. However, the circumstances surrounding Sybok's detainment by the El Kashtanktal, an enigmatic faction, added complexity to Angel's quest for their spouse's liberation. Zorn. Gropler Zorn was a prominent figure within the planetary community of Deneb 4 during the mid to late 24th century, holding a position of authority among the Bandai people. Zorn played a crucial role in the oversight of Farpoint Station. In the year 2364, the United Federation of Planets initiated negotiations with Zorn and his colleagues to secure the utilization of the Farpoint Station. However, as the discussions progressed, the Federation grew increasingly suspicious of the enigmatic nature of the station. Zorn's demeanor revealed signs of unease whenever inquiries were made about the station's lightning-fast construction, raising further doubts. Unbeknownst to the Federation, Zorn had coerced a shape-shifting spaceborne entity to assume the form of the Starbase, an act he kept hidden. The truth behind Zorn's actions would ultimately come to light through the diligent efforts of the USS Enterprise D crew. Soon enough, another entity of similar nature to the captive one was drawn to Zorn. Fueled by the anguish inflicted upon its companion, this creature confronted the Bandai for their mistreatment. Zorn was teleported aboard the USS Enterprise D, face to face with Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Having discerned the truth behind Zorn's deeds, Picard confronted him with unwavering determination. Picard also vowed to aid the alien entity in liberating its captured mate. Jad Vash. The Jad Vash was a clandestine organization composed of Tal Shiar operatives within the Romulan society. With a history spanning thousands of years, the Jad Vash existed long before the establishment of the Tal Shiar, utilizing the latter as a mere facade to conceal their true purpose. Their true nature and operations remained shrouded in secrecy, and their activities were so shadowy that even many Romulans were unaware of their existence, dismissing them as mere rumors. The primary objective of the Jad Vash was to safeguard a profound and horrific secret, the mere knowledge of which had the potential to drive individuals to the brink of insanity. Their dedication to this cause was driven by deep-rooted emotions of hatred, fear, and an intense aversion toward artificial intelligence. They relentlessly sought out and aimed to eradicate any traces of artificial intelligence they encountered, operating outside the bounds of treaties and jurisdictions, extending their reach beyond Romulan worlds. To assess the worthiness of potential recruits, the Jad Vash subjected them to a challenging trial known as the Admonition. The experience of the Admonition was a grueling and arduous ordeal, often leading individuals to descend into madness or choose the path of self-destruction.
I'm sorry.
Stop!
Yuta was a devoted servant to Sovereign Maruk, the esteemed leader of the Akamarians. Hailing from the Trolesta clan, Yuta was the sole survivor of her clan's tragic decimation at the hands of the rival Lornak clan nearly a century ago. The remaining Trolesta members chose Yuta to be the instrument of their long-awaited vengeance. Endowed with genetic modifications, Yuta's lifespan was extended far beyond that of an ordinary individual, enabling her to dedicate decades to her mission of tracking down and eliminating every member of the Lornak clan. To ensure her success, her very touch had been altered to carry a microvirus specifically designed to be lethal to individuals with Lornak DNA. This deadly virus manifested as seemingly natural heart failure upon contact. In her pursuit of justice, Yuta assumed the trusted role of Maruk's cook and food taster, granting her privileged access to the Lornaks who would otherwise be out of her reach. Yuta cunningly executed her mission through the loyal service to Maruk, meticulously eliminating her targets while maintaining her position of trust and secrecy. Vrax. Vrax held a significant role within the Romulan government as a member of the Romulan Senate. With many years of experience in his position, Vrax had garnered a reputation for his influence and authority. As Vrax's standing grew, he found it necessary to employ Riemann bodyguards, a visible display of power. In 2154, Vrax lent his support to Admiral Valdor's controversial plan to employ a drone ship as a means to disrupt the delicate balance of interstellar relations. Although the initial stages of their scheme showed promise, the crew of the Enterprise managed to infiltrate one of the drones, gathering valuable evidence to expose the orchestrators behind this covert operation. As the drone suffered significant damage, Vrax grew increasingly concerned about the potential repercussions that the discovery could have on the Romulan Senate. Fearing their retribution, Vrax urged Valdor to retrieve the compromised drone to avoid drawing unwanted attention. Ultimately, their mission proved unsuccessful, resulting in the arrest, demotion, and imprisonment of both Vrax and Valdor. Stripped of their rank and authority, their once prominent positions in the Romulan government were brought to an abrupt end. As rumors circulated about the rise of a new praetor, it became apparent that Vrax's time in office was coming to an end. Vogue, with his distinctive features, stood apart from the Klingon society due to his unique appearance. An outcast, he faced the harsh realities of discrimination and isolation. However, fate intervened when T'Kuvma, a charismatic leader, recognized the hidden potential within Vogue and anointed him as the torchbearer. Driven by an unwavering loyalty and endless faith in T'Kuvma's cause, Vogue fervently advocated for the ideals of his leader, rallying the Klingon High Council to embrace a path of resistance against the Federation. But when faced with the cunning General Cole, Vogue found his loyalties tested. Cole's manipulation swayed the crew, leading them to abandon Vogue on the desolate wreckage of the USS Shenzhou. In the depths of despair, Vogue made the solemn decision to bring about a different fate for himself, for which he would have to make the ultimate sacrifice. Through a unique surgical procedure, Vogue underwent a transformation. This intricate process merged his essence with the memories of Ash Tyler, a Starfleet prisoner of war. As the realms of humanity and Klingon's honor clashed within his being, an eternal battle erupted for control over his body and identity. Vogue's presence seemingly faded away, giving way to the resurgence of the Tyler persona. Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a historical figure who rose to prominence as a political leader in Germany during the tumultuous years of the 20th century. Hailing from Austria, Hitler eventually became the influential head of the German Nazi Party and assumed dictatorial control over the Nazi state. In certain episodes, archival footage or digitally augmented footage depicting Hitler was utilized to create fictional narratives within the Star Trek universe. In one instance, Hitler's doppelganger made an uncredited cameo during the second season of Star Trek. The footage, sourced from the 1934 film Triumph of the Will, featured the German dictator's image alongside a gathering of Ecosians in newsreel clips. The second appearance entailed digitally altered footage depicting Hitler in Paris, where the iconic Eiffel Tower was replaced with the Statue of Liberty, creating the illusion that he was situated in New York City. Once again, excerpts from Triumph of the Will were utilized in this episode. These creative choices were made to serve the storyline and highlight the misguided actions of the Federation historian John Gill, who employed Hitler's government as a reference point to influence the Ecosian society.
You are his commanding officer. I hold you responsible for his actions. Alexis was a unique individual who held a firm conviction that humanity had strayed from its true essence due to its reliance on technology. This enigmatic figure possessed an undeniable allure, radiating a sense of joy and charisma that captivated those who encountered her. At around 50 years old, Alexis exhibited a captivating smile and radiant eyes, reflecting her inner passion. Throughout her life, Alexis delved into extensive research on the human condition, demonstrating her intellectual prowess as a prolific author. Her written works spanned a wide range of topics, with an unyielding belief that humanity had become complacent, sluggish, and lacking in creativity. She sought to challenge the prevailing norms of society. Driven by her convictions, Alexis collaborated with like-minded scientists who shared her vision of a technology-free existence. Together, they developed a revolutionary gadget known as the Duonetic Field device, which emitted a unique field capable of disrupting nearby technological systems. In a covert act, she activated the machine, causing a deliberate malfunction in the life support systems of the spacecraft she was in. The ensuing emergency forced the vessel to crash land on a remote and carefully chosen planet, a pristine sanctuary that would serve as the foundation for her ambitious endeavors. Bothan. The Botha were a secluded humanoid species residing in a distant sector of the Delta Quadrant. Their territory was fiercely protected, leading to rumors of ships disappearing upon entering their space. While not viewed as aggressive, the Botha were known for their strict adherence to maintaining their borders, citing concerns about potential attacks on their settlements. The representative of the Botha people, known as Bothan, initiated contact with the starship Voyager when they sought to negotiate passage through his region. Notably gifted with advanced psychic abilities, Bothan used his powers to target Captain Janeway, subjecting her to a series of disturbing visions. Eventually, Bothan materialized on board the Voyager, ensnaring more crew members in incapacitating hallucinations. Janeway faced off against Bothan in a climactic confrontation, questioning his motives. He callously revealed that his actions were driven by a sense of power and control, asserting his abilities simply because he possessed them. As the encounter reached its conclusion, Bothan cryptically proclaimed his non-physical presence before vanishing alongside his ships, leaving the Voyager behind.
Sub-Lieutenant, if you attempt to interfere again...
Vilas. Administrator Vilas was a cunning and influential Romulan figure who held a prominent position within the Vulcan High Command during the mid-22nd century. With a calculated rise through Vulcan's political landscape, Vilas employed his power to shape the High Command into an aggressive and militant entity. His underlying agenda revolved around preventing humanity from attaining a position of authority and stability within the galactic stage. Physically, Vilas embodied the regality and commanding presence associated with the Vulcan race. As the administrator of the High Command, he held de facto leadership over Vulcan, assuming the role of its influential figurehead. However, as his plans took a turn, Vilas eventually fled Vulcan and returned to his Romulan roots. Upon his return, Vilas underwent intense interrogation and probing by the Romulans. Seizing the perfect opportunity, he cunningly feigned a vegetative state, allowing him to slip away unnoticed once the Romulans relaxed their surveillance. Determined to break free from Romulans' manipulation, Vilas resolved to no longer serve as their pawn. Instead, he set his sights on claiming Vulcan for himself, seeking to seize power and establish his own dominion.
Ah, Doctor. What a pleasant surprise. I'm sorry, I must have missed the door chime.
Elam Garak, Mirror Universe. Elam Garak was an enigmatic alien figure of the distant future. In the realm of the 24th century, Garak possessed a mysterious allure as a prominent member of the powerful alliance that spanned the Klingon-Kardasian sectors. Stationed at Terek Nor, a stronghold within the Bajoran sector, Garak held a significant position as second-in-command under the leadership of the enigmatic Intendant Kira Reis. Garak harbored ambitions of attaining command over Terek Nor. However, his attempts to oust the intendant and seize control of the station were hampered by their transparent nature and consistent failures. His desire for violence and brutality often clashed with Kira's leadership style, as he sought to quell any resistance from the enslaved Terran workforce in the ore processing facilities. Garrick advocated for severe measures, including execution for underperforming slaves, alongside his secret plotting to overthrow the intendant. However, his plans were deemed amateurish by the refined Ferengi, who looked down on Garrick's focus on lethal outcomes rather than strategic finesse. The tides turned against Garrick when he was left in a dire state, injected with a potent Alcartic virus that brought forth excruciating pain and near-certain death.
Come. She's not going with you.
Apollo. In ancient tales, a figure known as Apollo held great significance as a deity among the celestial pantheon. Mythology described Apollo as the offspring of Zeus, the mighty god, and Leto, a mortal woman. He embodied the virtues of illumination and purity, presiding over domains that related to these qualities. In a distant encounter, the renowned Captain Kirk and his intrepid crew crossed paths with an enigmatic being claiming to be Apollo on the planet Pollux 4. This being belonged to a race of extraterrestrial beings who were once revered as gods and played a pivotal role in the formation of both Greek and Roman mythologies. As time progressed, humanity outgrew its reliance on these alien deities, leading to their departure back to their homeworld. As the others of his kind gradually faded into the mists of history, Apollo remained steadfast in his belief that humanity would eventually venture beyond the confines of their world and traverse into the vast expanse of the stars. He harbored a desire to restore the balance of natural order, envisioning a future where humans would once again revere divine entities, with himself as the progenitor of a new generation of gods.
We had some problems integrating the Banian engrams into his alien neurology. This is the first time he's lost
Banian Doctor. There existed a being known as the Doctor, belonging to the enigmatic Banian race. However, beneath a facade of loyalty, the Doctor had secretly pledged allegiance to the Numiri, sworn enemies of his own people. To further his cause, the Doctor orchestrated a treacherous plot against his fellow Banians involving the death of the renowned Tolan Wren. The Doctor, driven by hidden motives, cunningly framed the blame on the unsuspecting Lieutenant Paris. The Doctor carries out the heinous act of murder, swiftly ending Wren's life. To conceal his guilt, the Doctor tampered with the crucial memory engrams, altering the evidence to depict a fabricated encounter between Paris and Liddell, ultimately leading to Paris's wrongful conviction. The Doctor's devious intention was to seize the Banian weapons designs and deliver them into the hands of the Numiri, thereby advancing their nefarious agenda. The Doctor then transmitted Wren's memory engrams, containing valuable weapons research, into Paris's own engrams. This sinister ploy aimed to lure Paris into the clutches of the Numiri, facilitating the extraction of vital information. However, Tuvok delved deep into the shadows to uncover the Doctor's true nature. Tuvok unraveled the layers of deception through a powerful mind meld with Paris, exposing the Doctor's treachery for all to see.
Don't. How many more?
Just him, Sam.
Maltz. Maltz was an enigmatic figure within the ranks of the Klingon Empire during the 23rd century. Maltz possessed a profound knowledge of the Klingon language, and it was through his collaboration with Federation linguists that the door of understanding were opened wider between the two cultures. Contrary to the stereotypical image of a fierce Klingon warrior, Maltz was characterized by a subdued demeanor and a soft-spoken nature. His appreciation for the scientific aspects of projects, rather than their potential for conquest, stood in stark contrast to the warrior ethos of his people. In the year 2285, Maltz found himself serving aboard a Klingon bird of prey under the command of the formidable Commander Krug. Following Krug's orders, Maltz carried out the beaming of the captive crew of the Starship Enterprise to their vessel. However, the tide turned against Krug, leading to his demise. With his leader gone, Maltz made the difficult decision to surrender, feeling that he no longer deserved to live. Initially, it was believed that Maltz had chosen to end his own life. Yet, Maltz survived as a captive of the Federation. Ultimately bound together in their shared destiny, Maltz and Marcus embraced each other as their station erupted into a cataclysmic explosion. Viceroy Vakruk. Vakruk, an enigmatic Reman, had spent his life toiling in the depths of his home planet, far removed from the light of the stars. In the depths of the mines, he discovered a glimmer of hope in the form of a young human clone named Shinzon. Vakruk took the boy under his wing, maturing him with care and becoming a paternal figure in his life. As Shinzon grew, so did his ambitions. A desire for power and control consumed him, leading him down a treacherous path. Vakruk, ever loyal, stood by his side, offering unwavering support and becoming his trusted viceroy. With Shinzon's ascension to Praetor following a devastating coup, Vakruk became an instrumental part of the new order. Commanding the mighty Scimitar, Shinzon's flagship, the crew led a group of Reman warriors in a daring assault on the Starship Enterprise. Their objective was to assert dominance and secure the legacy of their leader. However, fate had other plans in store. As the battle raged, the Krug found himself facing off against Commander Riker, a formidable opponent. In the midst of their fierce clash, the precariousness of the walkway they fought upon betrayed the Krug, causing him to lose his footing and plummet into the abyss below. Aiel, a man hailing from an unknown mining background, found himself entangled in a web of chaos aboard the enigmatic vessel known as the Narada. Serving as the second-in-command to the mysterious figure Nero, Aiel's voice became the conduit through which Nero conveyed his intentions. The reason behind Aiel assuming this role was rooted in Nero's self-imposed vow of silence. As the Narada was thrust into an alternate timeline, Aiel played a pivotal role in the ship's encounter with the USS Kelvin. Tasked with establishing communication, Aiel contacted the Kelvin, inviting the crew to join the Narada under the guise of a truce. 25 years later, Aiel and Nero orchestrated the capture of the renowned Spock and his vessel. Aiel's duties included preparing the red matter extracted from Spock's ship, possessed the ability to generate a destructive black hole. However, their grand plans faced an unexpected challenge when James T. Kirk infiltrated the Narada. In a moment of arrogance, Aiel launched an attack on Kirk, boasting about the perceived weakness of humans and underestimating Kirk's resourcefulness. But Kirk had managed to disarm him during his gloating. In a swift act of self-defense, Kirk fired upon Aiel, who met his demise as he plunged into the Narada's abyss.
It is not over.
It is over!
Matthew Doherty. Vice Admiral Doherty held a high-ranking position within Starfleet during the 24th century. Known for his ambition, he spearheaded a joint venture between Starfleet and the Sonar to harness the valuable metaphasic radiation found in the Briar Patch region. However, this endeavor posed a challenge as it required relocating the Baku, a peaceful community inhabiting a planet within the area. To achieve their objective without causing harm to the Baku, Doherty devised a plan to transport them onto a holoship that would simulate their village, ensuring they remained unaware of the relocation. This strategy aimed to allow Doherty and his team to collect the rejuvenating particles while preserving the lives of the Baku. Despite having obtained permission from the Federation Council for this mission, Doherty actively sought to prevent the Council from learning the full details, aware that public sentiment would likely turn against him and impede his progress. As events unfolded, Doherty attempted to halt the proceedings, but his efforts were met with resistance. Tragically, he was subjected to a brutal attack and perished when connected to a device designed to stretch skin, effectively silencing him. Klar. Captain Klar was a young and ambitious starship commander hailing from the Klingon Empire in the 23rd century. Driven by a burning desire to establish his reputation, Klar embarked on a personal mission to seek out challenges and prove himself worthy among his Klingon peers. Alongside his loyal first officer, Vixis, he eagerly pursued any opportunity to demonstrate his prowess. However, Klar's unauthorized actions eventually led to his demotion within the ranks of the Klingon Empire. As a consequence, he found himself serving as a humble court translator during a significant trial. While the film doesn't explicitly disclose Klar's identity as the translator, subsequent accounts in novels confirm that it was indeed him fulfilling this lesser role. It was revealed that Chancellor Gorkon, in his efforts to promote peace talks with the Federation, sought to curtail the aggression of starship captains, leading to Klar's demotion. Despite his setback, there were hints that Klar's journey toward redemption was underway. It was suggested that his demotion was not a permanent fate and that he might one day regain his command, indicating that he was making strides to rectify his past actions.
Must protest. To offer Klingons safe haven within Federation space is suicide.
Admiral Cartwright. Fleet Admiral Cartwright was a distinguished Starfleet officer who held a prominent position within the organization during the 23rd century. Renowned for his expertise in diplomacy, Cartwright served as the liaison between Starfleet and the diplomatic corps, fostering essential relationships between the Federation and other civilizations. Although Cartwright's name varied across different sources, his contributions remained significant. He was an agent working for the Starfleet. During a critical period in 2286, Cartwright played a pivotal role in safeguarding Earth from a destructive probe, showcasing his strategic leadership. However, controversy surrounds Cartwright's involvement in a conspiracy aimed at sabotaging peace talks between the Federation and the Klingon Empire. While the script initially associated Admiral Morrow with this plot, subsequent revisions placed Cartwright in that position, revealing his participation in the covert agenda. In the later years of his life, Cartwright faced incarceration and met an untimely demise in 2298. Official records suggest he succumbed to a respiratory infection while in prison, though there were whispers of suspicion surrounding his death, hinting at the possibility of foul play.
Fighting. Taken to the council.
Anan 7. Anan 7 held a position of leadership on the planet Aminiar 7 in the 23rd century. As the first councilman of the High Council of Aminiar, he bore the responsibility of guiding his people through a prolonged conflict with the neighboring planet Vandakar. This war, spanning 5 centuries, was unique in that it was fought entirely through computer simulations, allowing daily life to proceed undisturbed on both planets. Tragically, Anan 7 experienced personal loss when his wife fell victim to an attack from Vandakar. The impact of this event did not waver his staunch belief in the simulated war system. However, the situation changed when his own daughter, Mia, was reported as a casualty during a Vandakar attack. In a fateful encounter with Captain Kirk and Spock, the true nature of the simulated war is revealed. The Starship officers took decisive action by turning off Aminiar's computer systems, abruptly ending the virtual conflict. With this revelation, the inhabitants of Aminiar 7 and Vandakar were faced with a crucial decision: to engage in a conventional war or pursue a path of peaceful resolution. Recognizing the opportunity for change, Anan 7, too, acknowledged the need for an alternative approach. He expressed a willingness to explore the path of diplomacy and negotiation.
Phasers, on stun. Fire.
Number 71. Beor. Commissioner Beor was an extraterrestrial male hailing from the planet Charon. As the chief officer of the Commission on Political Traitors, he held a position of authority and influence. Possessing an extraordinarily extended lifespan, Beor had accumulated an age of over 50,000 years by the year 2268. In addition to his remarkable longevity, he possessed the ability to emit intense heat from his body and manipulate computer systems with his mind, showcasing his formidable powers. Driven by deep-seated racial prejudice, Beor harbored animosity toward individuals whose skin color differed from his own unique appearance. With a complexion divided between white and black, symbolizing the stark contrast between his two sides, Beor's bigotry fueled his relentless pursuit of a fugitive named Loki. Over a staggering span of 50,000 terrestrial years, Beor remained unwavering in his mission to track down Loki, finally locating him aboard the USS Enterprise. In his zealous pursuit, Beor and his associates had developed bioweapons specifically designed to target individuals sharing Loki's physical traits, wrongly believing that it would only affect those like Loki. Furthermore, Beor collaborated with the Sharonian government to systematically oppress individuals possessing coloration opposite to his own.
I am Braktor, leader of the Ferengi attack vessel Krikta. I will have...
Braktor. Daimon Braktor commanded the Ferengi vessel Krisha, overseeing a crew of Ferengi marauders. While adorned with the customary 3 insignia denoting his rank as a daimon, Braktor was informally referred to as the leader of his team. On a fateful occasion, Braktor and his crew chanced upon a simulated wargame involving the Federation starship Enterprise and the outdated USS Hathaway. Intrigued by the prospect of potential profit, Braktor grew suspicious that the Hathaway held something of value. Seizing an opportunity, he disrupted the wargame by attacking the Enterprise, believing there might be lucrative gains at hand. However, an ingenious ploy utilizing false sensor readings deceived Braktor into perceiving the imminent arrival of another Federation starship. Fearful of being outmatched, Braktor swiftly retreated from the scene, abandoning his plan to destroy the Enterprise. In subsequent events, Braktor played a minor role in a novel where he participated as one of the Ferengi involved in a blockade of the Bajoran system during a period of heightened tensions between the opposing races.
After a fierce battle. Regret.
Hikaru Sulu. Mirror Universe. Lieutenant Hikaru Sulu served as a dedicated officer on the alternate reality version of the Enterprise, captained by James T. Kirk. Not only did he skillfully operate the helm, but he also fulfilled the vital roles of security chief and second officer aboard the ship. This Sulu bore a distinguished scar on his face. Among his crewmates, Sulu harbored a deep admiration for the ship's communications officer, Lieutenant Uhura, finding solace in their connection amidst the turmoil of their universe. During a critical turn of events, Sulu shockingly deduced that Spock had secret orders to eliminate Captain Kirk. Recognizing an opportunity to eliminate both Spock and Kirk and make it appear as though they had perished in a mutual conflict, Sulu boldly confronted them in the confines of the sickbay. However, utilizing the Tantalus field, Marlena Moreau swiftly neutralized Sulu's associates, allowing Kirk to subdue him with a decisive blow. Eventually, all individuals were returned to their original dimensions, each to face the challenges of their respective realities. In the 2290s, Sulu continued to be a force to be reckoned with. Seeking to seize control of the Terran Empire, he embarked on a daring quest that ultimately ended in failure. Forced to retreat, Sulu evaded capture and vanished.
You killed my brother.
Dagor. Dagor was the formidable Klingon leader of the esteemed House of Dagor. The House of Dagor had been locked in a bitter rivalry with the House of Kozak for ages. Dagor was cunning and chose not to openly challenge the House of Kozak. Instead, Dagor employed a calculated strategy of systematically assaulting the House of Kozak's financial infrastructure eroding their economic stability. When Kozak, the head of the house, died, Dagor saw an opportune moment to exploit the situation. Assuming the guise of Kozak's brother, Dagor coerced Quark into providing a false account of his victory over Kozak in combat. This deceptive move prevented Kozak's widow, Grilka, from petitioning the High Council to assume leadership of the House. Yet, Grilka, determined to thwart Dagor's scheme, swiftly married Quark, making him the unexpected head of the Klingon House. Quark uncovered evidence of Dagor's manipulative tactics soon enough. Dagor challenged Quark to a duel to the death to settle the matter. Fully aware of his inability to prevail against Dagor in combat, Quark boldly knelt before his adversary, preparing to face his fate. But Dagor's readiness to slay Quark revealed his guilt, confirming the allegations against him. The High Council swiftly enacted the punishment of discommendation upon Dagor, expelling him forever.
Into my schedule. Enough! Robot, attack!
Dr. Chaotica. Dr. Chaotica was a fictional character created for the Holodeck program. Within this program, Chaotica portrayed himself as an evil ruler of the cosmos, relentlessly seeking to conquer planet Earth. Assisted by his loyal but intellectually challenged henchmen, Chaotica commanded an army of minions in his nefarious schemes. His primary adversary in this fictional universe was Captain Proton, a courageous hero who fought against intergalactic evil. In 2375, while USS Voyager was trapped in subspace, they encountered a race of photonic lifeforms who mistook the Captain Proton program for an authentic representation of reality. Believing Chaotica to be a real person, the aliens visited his lair, unaware of the program's fictional nature. In an act of ruthless aggression, Chaotica executed one of the aliens, sparking a conflict between them and his forces. Ultimately, during the ensuing battle, Chaotica met his apparent demise when he was caught in the destructive feedback of a death ray. 2 years later, in 2377, as Voyager found itself fragmented across different timeframes, one of the holodeck simulations featured the return of the nefarious Dr. Chaotica.
Either you stand with us, or you stand against us.
That's the
Commander Dolim. Commander Dolim was a formidable military leader among the alien race known as the Xindi Reptilians. He held a prominent position within the influential Xindi Council, known for his sincere dedication to his cause. While his actual name remained undisclosed until a later episode, he was initially identified solely by his species name. Dolim advocated for swift and decisive action against the human species, fueled by intelligence suggesting that humans would be responsible for the destruction of the Xindi homeworld in the distant future. Despite his aggressive stance, Dolim maintained a strong sense of honor and protectiveness toward his people. Among his fellow Xindi Council members, there was speculation regarding Dolim's hermaphroditic nature, adding to the intrigue surrounding his character. In a pivotal turn of events, Dolim met his demise when Archer, driven by the urgency of the situation, planted an explosive device on Dolim's person and activated it, eliminating the Xindi Reptilian commander. This act marked a significant turning point for the Xindi.
Then die by your own weapon!
Karnas. Karnas held a position of power as the governor of the mysterious planet Morden IV, starting from the year 2359. His rise to prominence stemmed from a tumultuous past as his father, a tribal chief, met a tragic end through assassination in the year 2319. In a bid to seek retribution, Karnas seized control of a starliner. He took hostage 63 unsuspecting passengers and demanded an arsenal of weapons from Starfleet as ransom. His intention was to employ these weapons to secure his dominance over Mordan. Starfleet dispatched Admiral Mark Jameson as a negotiator to secure the hostages' safe release. However, Jameson clandestinely supplied weapons not only to Karnas, but also to his rival faction, fueling a destructive civil war. In the aftermath, Karnas emerged triumphant, assuming the role of Mordan's leader. Blaming Jameson for his prolonged suffering, Karnas harbored a burning desire for revenge. To exact his vengeance, Karnas took the staff of the Federation embassy hostage. He cunningly leveraged it as a ploy to draw Jameson into negotiations. In response, Jameson ultimately beamed down to meet with Karnas face to face. Karnas initially contemplated ending Jameson's life. However, upon realizing that Jameson was already suffering from the effects of a potent drug, he watched Jameson succumb to his pain. Kodos, the Executioner. Governor Kodos, a prominent figure in human politics during the 23rd century, left a lasting mark on history with his controversial actions. In 2246, he held authority over the Earth colony of Tarsus IV. While there's some discrepancy regarding his full name, with sources mentioning Arnold Kodos or Adrian Kodos, the impact of his deeds far outweighs the details of his personal identity. It was under his leadership that a dark chapter unfolded, forever etching the name Kodos the Executioner into the annals of infamy. Kodos appointed himself as a self-proclaimed messiah, wielding an unfathomable authority over life and death. His ruthless decision-making came to a horrific climax when he ordered the activation of an antimatter chamber, resulting in the tragic demise of 4,000 colonists. The haunting tale of Codus's actions on Tarsus IV reverberated throughout the galaxy. The aftermath of his reign of terror was marked by a desperate hunt to bring him to justice as he cunningly evaded capture and meticulously orchestrated his own demise. However, in a dramatic turn of events, he found himself facing Captain Kirk. In a selfless act of sacrifice, Codus ultimately met his death while protecting Kirk, intercepting a phaser shot that was intended to end the captain's life.
Here. You carry no valuables of any kind. No precious gems, no latinum.
Ulis, a notorious Ferengi pirate from the 22nd century, led a band of raiders during the year 2151. Their nefarious tactics involved utilizing a deceptive Trojan horse device cleverly disguised as an ancient artifact. This crafty gadget had the power to incapacitate the entire crew of the Earth Starfleet vessel Enterprise NX-01. Exploiting the vulnerability created by their ingenious device, Ulis and his team swiftly infiltrated the dormant starship, embarking on a ruthless looting spree. However, their plans took an unexpected turn when Captain Archer cunningly claimed knowledge of a vault brimming with valuable gold bars, enticing Ulis with the promise of sharing the spoils. Eager to uncover this potential fortune, Ulis and his crew embarked on a relentless search throughout the ship. Unbeknownst to them, Commander Tucker, the ship's chief engineer, had managed to resist the effects of their incapacitating device. Teaming up with T'Pol, he devised a trap to outsmart the unsuspecting Ferengi intruders. Guided by Tucker, Ulis and his crew unwittingly walked right into the hands of their adversaries. T'Pol skillfully ambushed the Ferengi. Ulis found himself in restraints, defeated. With the pirate ship under the control of a fellow pirate, Captain Archer reclaimed his vessel, ensuring that justice prevailed.
Mr. Worf!
Kieran Macduff. Commander Kieran Macduff was a mysterious figure with a fabricated background and a hidden agenda. According to the falsified information in his records, Macduff was said to have been born on an obscure planet called Gamma Canaris N to his parents Joseph and Les Macduff. He supposedly joined Starfleet Academy in the year 2357, graduating 4 years later. His career path allegedly led him to serve as the operations manager on the USS Orion, and later as the executive officer on the renowned starship USS Enterprise D in 2368. However, Macduff was actually an agent of an enigmatic race known as the Samaritans. Engaged in a bitter conflict with the Lycians, both races sought to manipulate the powerful Federation to their advantage. Macduff utilized a potent weapon that induced amnesia in the crew of the Enterprise, leaving them with just enough knowledge to operate the ship. Macduff then cunningly altered the ship's records to deceive the team into believing that the Federation was at war with the Lycians. Disguised as a Starfleet commander, he fed them false information about a mission to destroy the Lycian Central Command. However, as his true nature was eventually exposed, sustained phaser blasts struck Macduff, revealing his alien form and likely resulting in his demise. Kayla. In the vibrant paradise of Reisa, Jonathan Archer found himself captivated by the enigmatic presence of a woman named Kayla. Their paths crossed unexpectedly as if orchestrated by fate itself. A chance encounter occurred when Kayla's dog crossed paths with Archer's canine companion on the deck of his villa. Intrigued by the situation, Archer took the opportunity to strike up a conversation with Kayla, inviting her to join him for a delightful dinner. Archer noticed Kayla's reticence in revealing personal details as the evening progressed. She skillfully evaded questions about herself while displaying an intense interest in Archer's life. Sensing an imbalance, Archer confronted Kayla about her elusive nature, seeking to uncover the truth behind her enigmatic facade. It was then that Kayla's carefully constructed disguise began to crumble. In a moment of vulnerability, she confessed that her family had tragically perished at the hands of the Suliban, fueling her hidden motives. Sensing Archer's growing suspicion, Kayla made a sudden move, scratching his arm with a concealed substance that rendered him unconscious. When Archer regained consciousness, he found himself alone, with no trace of Kayla to be found. The allure of her presence had dissipated into the tropical breeze, leaving behind unanswered questions and a lingering sense of intrigue.
You're madly in love with Helen, Captain. You'd lie, cheat, steal for her, sacrifice your career.
Tristan Adams. Dr. Tristan Adams was a brilliant scientist in the 23rd century, known for his groundbreaking contributions to the field of neuroscience. His research focused on unlocking the potential of the human mind and finding innovative ways to improve mental health and well-being. From an early stage in his career, Adams dedicated himself to transforming the treatment of individuals in need of psychological care. His visionary ideas challenged the traditional prison system, advocating for a more compassionate approach that prioritized rehabilitation over punishment. Adams pioneered new methodologies that revolutionized the way prisons were run. His efforts led to the establishment of state-of-the-art facilities where inmates received comprehensive care and support, akin to hospitals dedicated to healing troubled minds. Adams' accomplishments garnered widespread recognition, with many regarding his work as a milestone in human progress. His dedication and passion inspired generations of psychologists and therapists who sought to follow in his footsteps and further advance the understanding of mental well-being. However, there were whispers of his growing hunger for power. Some claimed that Adams became dissatisfied with the progress of humanity, feeling that his philanthropic efforts had gone unrecognized and unrewarded. He ultimately created the neural neutralizer, a device that he would use in his devious attempts to gain power.
I don't care what you think you know, Shapeshifter. You will never be able to prove that I killed my husband, because
Vartrik Palra. Vartrik Palra was a Bajoran woman who experienced great turmoil during the occupation of Bajor. She endured the loss of her husband, a collaborator with the Kardasians, whose death was shrouded in controversy. Palra vehemently denied any involvement in her husband's demise and claimed that he was killed by the resistance. In the aftermath of the occupation, Palra found herself in dire financial circumstances. Desperate to improve her situation, she devised a plan to exploit her past connections. She reached out to Quark and hired him to retrieve a hidden strongbox containing important information about her husband's associates. With the strongbox in her possession, Palra sought to leverage the knowledge it had. She contacted those listed within, coercing them into providing substantial financial compensation to ensure her silence regarding their collaboration with the Kardasians. It was a precarious path she embarked on, fueled by her desperation to secure a better future. However, Palra's actions did not go unnoticed. Odo, a vigilant security officer, became aware of her activities and began an investigation. Eventually, the evidence against her became overwhelming, leading to her arrest on charges of attempted murder and blackmail.
Remove the paint!
Kol Shar was a legendary warrior from an ancient civilization. Born in a time long forgotten, he wielded his sword with unmatched skill and honor. His legacy echoed throughout the ages, inspiring countless generations of warriors. As a revered leader of his people, Kol Shar advocated for unity and strength within his clan. He dedicated his life to upholding the values of honor, loyalty, and the pursuit of glory on the battlefield. In the twilight of his years, Kol Shar found himself entangled in a struggle for power and control. Faced with the shifting dynamics of his society, he sought to maintain the traditions and principles he held dear. However, his views clashed with those who sought to forge a new path. Challenged by a rising leader named Laurel, Kol Shar stood firmly against her ascension to power. He questioned her abilities and dismissed her accomplishments, unwilling to accept the changes she represented. This clash of ideals fueled a bitter rivalry between the two, pitting tradition against innovation. In a moment of desperation, Kol Shar resorted to drastic measures, taking Laurel's child hostage to exert his influence. His actions were met with unexpected consequences as Section 31 agent Philippa Georgiou intervened, disrupting his plans and ultimately sealing his fate.
The next junction, we can...
Rudolph Ransom. Captain Rudolph "Rudy" Ransom was a distinguished Starfleet officer in the 24th century, known for his exceptional achievements in exobiology. Rising through the ranks, he earned the rank of captain. Given command of the USS Equinox, a cutting-edge Nova-class science vessel, Ransom and his crew embarked on a scientific mission in the uncharted Delta Quadrant. However, that journey took an unexpected turn when they were abruptly pulled into an unknown realm by a mysterious entity known as the Caretaker. Struggling to survive in this unfamiliar and challenging environment, Ransom faced extraordinary circumstances. Faced with these dire circumstances and limited resources, he made a series of choices that, over time, compromised his moral compass. Recognizing the destructive path he'd embarked upon, he reached a critical turning point where he decided to confront the consequences and seek redemption. Realizing the extent of the damage caused and burdened by remorse, he initiated a cascade of events that would lead to the vessel's destruction, ensuring that no further harm would come from his misguided pursuits. Before his demise, Ransom employed a synaptic stimulator to immerse himself in the serene tranquility of the Tenkaran coast, allowing him a brief respite and solace in his final moments. Kol, Klingon. Kol was a formidable warrior hailing from an influential Klingon lineage during the mid-23rd century. Originally to be named Atum, he carried the weight of his prestigious heritage as a member of the House of Kor, one of the esteemed great houses of the Klingon Empire. In the year 2256, Kol proudly represented his noble lineage on the esteemed Klingon High Council. Fueled by his direct lineage from the revered Karles, Cole possessed a sense of superiority over many other Klingons, particularly those who faced societal exclusion and ostracization. Cole's martial prowess was matched only by his command over Klingon starships, demonstrating his leadership abilities on the galactic stage. Although initially intended to be a protege of T'Kuvma, his final narrative veered from this path. When T'Kuvma rallied the Great Houses to engage in a fierce battle against the Federation in a binary star system, Cole chose a different path. Rejecting T'Kuvma's cause, he firmly stood his ground, promising to challenge and surpass T'Kuvma's aspirations in due time. Tragically, Cole's ambitions and plans for Klingon Empire supremacy were abruptly halted by a devastating explosion. Alongside his loyal crew, Cole met his demise, putting an end to his aspirations for Klingon's rule. Cole Ferengi. Cole was a daring adventurer hailing from the mysterious realm of the Ferengi Alliance in the 24th century. His journeys led him to traverse the vast expanse of space aboard a marauder commanded by Daimon Goss. During the pivotal event of the Barzan wormhole bidding in 2366, Cole found himself playing a role as one of the consuls in Goss's delegation, representing the Ferengi Alliance. Accompanied by the skilled physician Arador, Cole piloted a shuttle into the mysterious depths of the Barzan wormhole. Destiny led them to the Takarian homeworld, a realm inhabited by a humanoid civilization. Seizing upon a golden opportunity, Cole and Arador craftily presented themselves as revered sages mentioned in the sacred Takarian texts. The two Ferengi cunningly exploited the unsuspecting Takarian populace for the next 7 years. However, the Voyager crew managed to extract Cole and Arador by ingeniously convincing the Takarians that Neelix was the long-awaited prophet sent by the divine entities to escort the sages back to their supposed home. Taking advantage of a momentary lapse, Cole and Arador ingeniously escaped in their shuttle, endeavoring to find their way back to Takar. However, they inadvertently ventured into the dangerous depths of the Barzan wormhole, their ultimate destination shrouded in uncertainty.
For now, I'm giving you a direct order to withdraw. Kennelly out.
Kennelly. Vice Admiral Kennelly was a highly esteemed Starfleet officer known for his strategic brilliance and unwavering dedication to the Federation. Throughout his distinguished career in the 24th century, he climbed the ranks to achieve the prestigious position of a flag officer. In the year 2368, Kennelly found himself faced with a challenging dilemma. Driven by his utmost commitment to the safety and well-being of Federation colonies, he entered into a covert mission alongside the Kardasians, aiming to eradicate a Bajoran terrorist cell that posed a threat to both sides. However, the situation took an unexpected turn when the Kardasians orchestrated an attack on a Federation colony, cunningly framing the Bajoran resistance for the incident. Driven by his unwavering sense of justice, Kennelly became the unwitting pawn in the Kardasians' sinister plot to eliminate the renowned fighter, Orta. When Captain Picard intervened, uncovering the truth and exposing the Kardasian deception, everything changed. With unwavering integrity, Picard confronted Kennelly and implored him to seek the truth from his Kardasian acquaintance, the liaison officer. The revelation struck Kennelly deeply, forcing him to confront the complexity of the situation and question his own actions. In the aftermath, Kennelly prepared to face a hearing, understanding that he might be subject to a thorough investigation.
They are, and a nice lot too.
Rota Severin. Severin was a renowned explorer hailing from the distant planet of Tiburon. Throughout the 2260s, he gained recognition for his research in various scientific disciplines. However, tragedy struck when Severin was diagnosed with a rare and incurable illness known as Synthococcus novae. The burden of his affliction took a toll on Severin's mental well-being, leading him down a path of resentment toward advanced technological societies. Out of this turmoil, he developed a radical philosophical movement called The One. As his beliefs grew more extreme, Severin's radical ideas led to his dismissal from his prestigious post. He embarked on a desperate quest for what he believed to be a paradise known as Eden. Seizing an opportunity, Severin took control of the renowned Enterprise and manipulated its course toward the supposed location of Eden. Unbeknownst to him, the so-called paradise was far from what he'd envisioned. The ground of the alien world was rife with acidic terrain. The very plants that adorned the landscape were poisonous. Amidst the desolate surroundings of Eden, the Enterprise crew discovered a grievously wounded Severin and his followers. They extended their assistance. Tragically, Severin, determined to remain in Eden, consumed a poisoned fruit in a final act of desperation, resulting in his untimely demise.
Security.
Don't you think it's questionable judgment, Captain, to have a security officer whose father was a Romulan collaborator?
Sabine Genestra. Sabine Genestra was a highly skilled investigator of Betazoid descent, known for his exceptional abilities in assessing and verifying information during interrogations. His expertise was sought after, and he'd previously worked closely with Starfleet Admiral Nora Satie before her retirement in the 2360s. As a Betazoid, Genestra possessed remarkable telepathic capabilities. These gifts made him a trusted asset in discerning the truth. His unique abilities allowed him to question and authenticate the responses of those he interacted with. During a critical investigation involving the crew of the Starship Enterprise, Genestra was assigned to work alongside Lieutenant Worf, a security officer. Despite natural reservations about Worf's loyalty, Genestra quickly established a rapport with him, assuring the Klingon officer of his complete trust. However, Captain Jean-Luc Picard held reservations about employing a telepath in a criminal investigation, citing a previous instance involving the delivery of a Romulan spy. Genestra, undeterred, remained confident in his abilities and dedicated himself to assessing the security and personnel of the Enterprise. Over the course of a week, Genestra conducted interviews with various members of the Enterprise crew, diligently examining their backgrounds and intentions. With his discerning skills, he assessed the ship's security measures and personnel, ultimately providing a positive evaluation of the Enterprise's capabilities.
Display a holographic simulation of Krell Moset.
Krell Moset. Dr. Krell Moset was a prominent Kardasian exobiologist hailing from the Kardasian Union in the 24th century. His extensive knowledge and expertise in non-humanoid exobiology earned him a distinguished reputation throughout the Alpha Quadrant. Moset presented himself as a polite and courteous individual, adorned with a brilliant medical intellect that garnered admiration from his peers. However, behind this facade lay a darker truth. Moset possessed a cold and calculating nature, driven by a ruthless pursuit of his goals. Unbeknownst to many outside of Kardasian space, his villainous practices remained largely hidden. One of Moset's notorious acts involved conducting experiments on the Betazoids, exploiting their unique abilities for his own scientific pursuits. Additionally, under the orders of Gul Dukat, Moset infected Kira Nerys' mother, Kira Maru, with the Fostosa virus in 2353. Dukat perceived Maru as a liability and sought to eliminate her. Tragically, Maru succumbed to the virus and passed away shortly after that. Despite his evil actions, Moset managed to maintain a polite and charming demeanor, concealing his true nature from those who interacted with him. This allowed him to continue his pursuits and manipulate situations to suit his agenda. Javini. Javini was a formidable warrior hailing from the distant future of the 32nd century as a skilled member of the Quwat Milat, a group of warrior nuns. Javini's path intertwined with that of Gabrielle Burnham, the mother of Michael Burnham when Gabrielle arrived in the future from the year 2257. Javini took it upon herself to nurse her back to health, dedicating over a year to this endeavor. Gabrielle sincerely appreciated Javini's care and considered her indebted to the warrior nun, recognizing the profound impact Javini had on her life. Javini, true to her warrior spirit, made a solemn vow to protect the Abronians, a group in need of assistance until they reached their new home and awakened. However, to provide the necessary power for the awakening process, Javini found herself in need of dilithium, a valuable resource. This led her to resort to stealing dilithium from Starfleet vessels. Through the utilization of tracking devices and security records, Starfleet was able to identify Javini as the culprit. Once her mission was accomplished, Javini willingly surrendered herself to Starfleet custody. She was subsequently sent to the peaceful monastic world of Pajar, where, under the guidance of Gabrielle, she embarked on a profound journey of deep, rehabilitative meditation.
As your species?
I'm human. From the planet Earth.
Never heard of Vulcans taking orders.
Traig. Traig was a rebellious figure who led a group of insurgents on the planet Corridan in the year 2151. They vehemently opposed the recognized government, which they believed to be under the influence of Vulcan control. Traig's faction rejected any association with the established authorities. During a visit by Captain Jonathan Archer and Subcommander T'Pol aboard an Enterprise shuttle pod, Traig's forces took aggressive action, shooting down the shuttle pod and capturing Archer and T'Pol. Initially, Traig was skeptical of Archer's status and authority, but due to T'Pol's strategic claim that Archer was the ship's steward, Traig mistakenly concluded that she was the captain of the Enterprise. In order to secure their release, Traig demanded advanced weaponry and technology from the Enterprise crew to support their cause against the recognized government. However, before any agreement could be reached, Archer and T'Pol were soon successfully rescued by the Andorians, and Traig's life came to a tragic end as he was fatally shot during the rescue mission.
How the mighty have fallen.
Turan?
It's Gul Turan now.
Turan. Gul Turan was a high-ranking Cardassian officer who arrived at Deep Space Nine in 2370 as part of a diplomatic mission. During his time on the station, tensions arose between Turan and Elim Garak, a former Cardassian operative. It was evident that Turan had received a recent promotion to the rank of Ghoul, indicating the challenging circumstances in Kardasian society. Turan and Garrick had a pre-existing history of hatred and distrust. Their interactions were marked by hostility and suspicion. Despite their differences, they found themselves engaged in negotiations regarding a prisoner exchange involving Professor Natima Lang and her students. Garrick managed to convince both the Kardasian and Bajoran governments to agree to the deal. However, Turan manipulated the situation, driven by his own agenda and dismissive of Garrick's concerns. He convinced Kardasian Central Command to revoke the agreed-upon exchange and instead ordered the execution of the dissidents. Recognizing the severity of the situation, Garrick took matters into his own hands. When Turan attempted to carry out the execution himself, Garrick acted swiftly, using his phaser to eliminate Turan. This act of self-defense vaporized Turan, preventing him from executing the dissidents and ensuring their survival.
You know so much about our side of the galaxy. We gain more knowledge every day. And now we have you.
Talak Talan. Talak Talan was a member of the Jem'Hadar, a formidable fighting force serving the Dominion in the late 24th century. He achieved the rank of first, acting in his unit. Talak Talan played a pivotal role in the capture of Deep Space Nine, making him the first Jem'Hadar antagonist encountered in the series. Notably, Talak Talan was the first Jem'Hadar introduced in the Star Trek universe, making his appearance significant. Like his fellow Jem'Hadar, he exuded a calm and self-assured demeanor devoid of unnecessary showmanship. His confidence emanated from knowing his superior abilities and skill, leaving no need for him to prove himself. One distinctive feature of Talak Talan, shared by all Jem'Hadar, was a tube connected to his neck, an essential part of their military gear. This tube served a specific purpose, though its exact function is not specified. Furthermore, Talak Talan showcased a unique ability during his time on Deep Space Nine. He demonstrated the remarkable skill to walk through a raised force field, a feat not observed in any other character throughout the course of Deep Space Nine.
Starship Voyager.
My name is Cullen, First Maj of the Kazon Nistrum.
Jal Kulu. Jal Kulu held the esteemed position of First Mage within the Kazon Nistrim sect from 2371 to 2373. During his leadership, the Kazon Nistrim faced numerous challenges and experienced a decline in influence and strength under Kulu's direction. Despite his aspirations for power, Kulu proved to be an ineffective leader. In 2371, an opportunity presented itself to Kulu when the Federation starship Voyager arrived in the Delta Quadrant. Recognizing the potential of acquiring advanced Federation technology, Kulu sought to exploit this advantage to regain prominence for his sect and upset the power balance within the quadrant. Through a brief capture of Voyager, Kulu attempted to fulfill his ambitions. Kulu also had a romantic relationship with Seska, who later became pregnant with his child. Tragically, Seska lost her life when Voyager was reclaimed by its crew. Following the ship's recovery, Kulu took his infant son and decided to abandon Voyager, leaving behind the Federation vessel and its staff. It's known that Kulu named his son Sesson, likely as a tribute to Seska, the child's late mother. In the early 25th century, Sesson would go on to succeed his father as the leader of the Kazon Nistrim, taking on the mantle of responsibility within the sect. Jem'Hadar. The Jem'Hadar were a formidable species hailing from the Gamma Quadrant. They possessed a reptilian-like appearance and were known for their aggressive and ruthless nature. Renowned as the Dominion's elite warriors, they served as the obedient enforcers of the Founder's will, comprising one of the most formidable military forces in the galaxy during their era. As the Dominion's enforcers, the Jem'Hadar were tasked with ensuring compliance and dealing with any acts of defiance by those who engaged in trade with the Vorta. Despite occasional rebellions throughout their history, the Jem'Hadar were consistently defeated, emphasizing their unwavering loyalty to the Founders. Unlike other species driven by notions of honor and glory, the Jem'Hadar prioritized victory and destruction above all else. Their single-minded focus on achieving success in battle gave them a hardened, veteran-like demeanor. Strikingly, the Jem'Hadar lacked any remnants of non-functional DNA, a distinct characteristic resulting from their genetically engineered origins. Kazon. The Kazon are a humanoid extraterrestrial species hailing from the Delta Quadrant, encountered by the starship USS Voyager in 2371. Originally known as the Gazon, they possess a brutal and aggressive nature. Notably, the Borg deemed them unworthy of assimilation, highlighting their ferocity and lack of value in the eyes of the Borg collective. Divided into 18 distinct sects, the Kazon engage in constant conflict, each vying for control over different vital resources. They have a lean and bony physique, often dressed in tattered and unkempt garments. Their dehydrated and damaged skin bears the marks of exposure to the harsh elements, signifying a people enduring a challenging and survival-driven existence. Living in extreme conditions and forsaking comfort, the Kazon prioritize potential sources of power over creature comforts. Their willingness to endure such dire circumstances reflects their lethal and determined nature, driven by the pursuit of dominance and influence. Dreadnought Animated. Dreadnought is an advanced humanoid war machine that serves as a trusted advisor and right-hand companion to Vau N'Akat, also known as the Diviner. Their collaboration takes place in the Chimerium Mine Penal Colony, located on Tars Lamora in the Delta Quadrant. Dreadnought possesses striking features, including glowing red eyes and a set of 5-fingered hands. There's an alternate form of Dreadnought, characterized by 4 spider-like legs, 2 tentacles, a split head, and an array of mesmerizing red lights. While Dreadnought possesses high-level artificial intelligence, it's not impervious to overconfidence in its own power. Together with its master, Dreadnought embarks on a mission to eradicate the United Federation of Planets, leveraging the USS Protostar as a weapon. However, there are conflicting accounts regarding Dreadnought's involvement in the demise of Chakotay, as some sources suggest that Chakotay and his crew were displaced in time, and that the Protostar was unoccupied upon arrival in Tars Lamora. Additionally, hints indicate the possibility of a newer iteration of Dreadnought or its continued existence, although the timeline and details surrounding this remain uncertain. Badgie Animated. In the realm of holographic creations, Badgie emerged as a unique anthropomorphic character envisioned by Ensign Sam Rutherford. Taking the form of an anthropomorphic Starfleet insignia, Badgie was designed to serve as a holographic tutor within the holodeck of the USS Cerritos. Created as part of the Rutherford Training Beta 2.5, he aimed to assist in educational endeavors. However, in 2380, Badgie encountered a malfunction that resulted in his artificial intelligence becoming unstable and unhinged. This led to a disturbing turn of events as Badgie turned against Ensigns Rutherford and Attendee, relentlessly pursuing them through a series of simulated environments. Rutherford ingeniously altered the program to a frozen setting, causing Badgie to freeze solid, allowing Rutherford to ultimately disable and destroy him. After resetting Badgie's program, Rutherford believed that Badgie would have no recollection of his previous actions. However, unbeknownst to Rutherford, Badgie secretly retained memories of the encounter and began plotting his revenge. Notably, following the destruction of the operational Texas-class vessels, remnants of Badgie's code were salvaged from an implant extracted from Ensign Rutherford's head during the Battle of Kalar, hinting at a potential resurgence of Badgie's presence. The Vau N'Akat Animated. The Vau N'Akat was an advanced humanoid civilization hailing from the planetary system of Solum in the Delta Quadrant. Isolated for eons, the Vau N'Akat had long believed themselves to be the only sentient beings in the vast universe. However, that conviction was shattered when a great starship of the Prometheus class initiated contact with them during the mid-2380s. This encounter triggered a profound schism within Vau N'Akat society, dividing them into 2 factions with conflicting ideologies. One section was captivated by the allure of exploration and cooperation with the Federation, embracing the possibilities of interstellar relationships. In contrast, the opposing faction staunchly clung to their traditional way of life and resisted aligning with what they perceived as an inferior and primitive alliance. The discord that emerged soon escalated into a brutal and protracted civil war, ravaging the planet of Solum and leaving it on the brink of irreversible devastation. The future appeared bleak, and the Vau N'Akat faced the grim prospect of imminent extinction. Notably, the Vau N'Akat possessed an extraordinary ability to mentally manipulate certain objects, known as neuroflux, displaying their advanced technological prowess. It's noteworthy that upon death, the essence of a Vau N'Akat is said to dissipate, leaving behind only remnants of their existence. Marvelous verdict. A plethora of intriguing villains has caught our imagination across many Star Trek shows and films. These foes have pushed the limits of our cherished crews and challenged the values of the United Federation of Planets, from the crafty brilliance of Khan Noonien Singh to the unrelenting Borg Collective. Figures such as Gul Dukat and Kai Wynn demonstrate the difficulties of power and influence by exploring the domain of moral ambiguity. Meanwhile, the mysterious Q and the Dominion's changing founders pose perplexing challenges. We meet badass villains like the Klingon warriors and cunning Romulan commanders. The Borg Queen's obsession with perfection, as well as the time-traveling schemes of other malicious agents, lend levels of complexity to the Star Trek world. We dig into the psychology of these villains, observing their motives, difficulties, and the devastating influence they have on our cherished Starfleet heroes during this extensive trip. Join us in honoring the enthralling, varied, and all-encompassing villains that have shaped Star Trek's history. And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one, and be safe. Thanks, everyone.